Hello, everyone, and welcome to an episode of Sharing with Shellshock. I am your host, ShellshockPrime, and tonight we are here for an awesome episode as we talk about why we love arcade games. And this is the first time that all four of these guests have been on my show. So joining me tonight, first, we have Ben Magnet. Welcome.
Hi, hello, how's it going, guys?
It's going good. Welcome, welcome. And then we have DJTatsujin.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for having me.
And then we got TheGilaMonstar.
Hey, what's up, everyone?
Good to have you as well. And SpaceRobotArm.
Hello. Thanks for inviting me, Shellshock.
It's good to have you all on here. We will be spending some time talking about why we love arcade games. Originally, we were supposed to have a different episode before this one, but it got delayed due to scheduling reasons. So this is episode 87 tonight. So before we get started, let's talk about what type of content we all do. Starting with you, Ben.
Oh boy. Okay. So the type of content I do as of right now, what I've been doing for at least consistently, I've been doing podcasts. I was a part of the Fake Nerd podcast, which was something my friends and I did for like 7.5 to 8 years. And then from that, I started doing a show called Basement Arcade Pause, which is a show where I just take a video game topic, I chat with nothing but video games with a guest or guests sometimes. And the tagline is the show where we hit pause, sit back, and just chill.
Nice.
So it's a very like round robin, open discussion. Rants and tangents aren't just welcomed; they're encouraged. But besides that, or at least keeping with the video games, I also write for Old School Gamer magazine. I also write for Fusion magazine, and I've also written for Go Nintendo. I write for those guys, and keeping with the podcast, but going to a different form of gaming, I have been a part of the Dungeons and Dragons style podcast D and Dark for coming up on 3-ish years, give or take.
Nice. And what about you, DJ?
Once again, I am DJTatsujin. I am a sort of an archivist of video gaming. I have a website. It's called GameUbaka.com, and rich history of video games on there. Very recently posted a very large article about the game Virtuoso for the 3DO, which is a very obscure thing. The 3DO has been kind of my kick recently, but there's also big features on Donkey Kong Country 3, basically how the Game Boy Advance version is dramatically different from the Super Nintendo version, things like Alleyway on the Game Boy. So try to pick apart obscure things about video gaming that don't normally get talked about on websites. But also, as DJTatsujin, I stream on Twitch, and my YouTube channel is GameUbaka, like my website, and that does conveniently have a playlist filled with arcade videos, and sometimes I'll even live stream from an arcade if it's possible. So just lots of stuff always going on.
Awesome. All right. Gila?
Well, I'm just mainly just a streamer, and currently I'm trying to get into the routine of making TikToks based on the streams from me and my friends when we just play games together on our Friday night Spooky Duke Squad. Other than that, it's just a variety gaming stream where I mostly just try to focus on more like on Sonic centric games on if I try or if I can.
All right. Awesome. Space Robot Arm.
Yeah, and for me, it's also pretty much just streaming. I'm live once a week and always playing retro stuff. And my goal is kind of to present classic games as authentically as possible, and also kind of like recreate the experience of sitting on the couch with friends and the way we would used to pass the controller back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of my contribution, is just trying to capture the essence of retro games.
All right. Awesome. So when it comes to arcade games, we all have our own favorite games. We all try different things that over the years, and we've even seen different experiences, like people playing like light gun games, DDR, racing, or even fighting, and pretty much everything else. But we're gonna start with the first question for you, Ben. When did you start going to arcades, and what were some of the earliest arcade games that you remember?
I guess I don't know if the cop out answer is since I could walk. Will that count? Because when I was a kid, you know, I'm a child of the '90s. My parents would take me to Chuck E. Cheese's, but even then, Chuck E. Cheese was a very rare thing. Like I remember one year, one of my older cousins, this was up in Montana. We were visiting my mom's side of the family. That's where she's from, and my mom and my dad they went on a date, and they had my older cousin take care of my brother and I. And we went to a Chuck E. Cheese, and it was great. There was a Chuck E. Cheese by my house in Southern California, where I grew up, and I wanted to go there because I wanted to play the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles arcade game, which is one of the classic beat 'em ups. I know everyone on the internet talks about how great Turtles in Time is. It's like, look, that's a great game, but the OG beat 'em up arcade game, that's my jam. That is my game. You have that at our arcade, I'm popping some quarters into that.
Yeah.
And there's also an old school Jurassic Park game, not the Lost World, like the original Jurassic Park one, a Jurassic Park cabinet that Sega made. Absolutely loved that. Absolutely loved it. And as time went on, there are times. I mean, I didn't start loving arcades again until I got a lot older. I mean, of course, I actually worked at Dave & Buster's for a good long while, but Dave & Buster's is mostly just redemption games. And granted, the newer games, like the high score games like Time Crisis, we had the Daytona 500, and there are times where I'd be walking by and I always hear Daytona. Would not leave my brain.
Yeah.
But now, any chance that there's a place like this new barcade close to my house, or if I'm traveling with friends and we find that there's a bar or brewery that has like a bunch of pinball machines or old arcade cabinets, it's like, I'm going there. I'm just gonna stay there. I'm gonna chill there, take my money, and let's have a drink and let's just go and have a good time.
Oh yeah, that is a good time indeed. What about you?
Oh, yeah.
What about you, DJTatsujin?
Yeah, unfortunately, I didn't really have arcades in my immediate city growing up. They would obviously be like at Pizza Hut or the bowling alley or whatever, but I didn't like really get into it. There was the mall the next town over. They had like a fairly deep arcade, like dimension-wise, to where there were two entrances. It like stretched to both sides of the mall, and walking through it. Super Mario Brothers Versus immediately caught my eye. It's what got me into video gaming, period. I know Super Mario Brothers has gotten a lot of people into video games, but for me, it is very specifically that arcade versus setup, and it was the dual cabinet with the Duck Hunt on the other side of it. And so it just what gravitated me towards arcade games is they look like cartoons, and you could play with the cartoons. I always loved cartoons as a kid, and just totally gravitated toward this. So it was so like I said, there unfortunately weren't any in my immediate vicinity, and I even remember one time visiting an uncle and aunt, and my uncle took me to the arcade, and he gave me $5, and I'm like, I can spend all of this on arcade games. Like I never had this power before the arcade, but so I was playing like The Simpsons and stuff like that. But it really got entrenched into the like arcade culture close to the millennium. Like when I got my driver's license, close to graduating high school, when some of like the fighting games were honestly starting to peter out, especially the 2D ones. Like Tekken was starting to, like Tekken 3 and Tekken Tag were starting to kind of blossom. The 3D gaming was kicking in, but at that point, if it had a steering wheel or a light gun, you could find it in the arcade. So really gravitated toward the House of the Dead was always one of my favorites, and then. Traveling around, people always talk about the fighting game scenes and everything. There really wasn't that in the arcades I went to growing up. I didn't really get that till like 2005 or 2006, when a lot of people were still playing Tekken 5, Soul Calibur 2, Capcom versus SNK 2, and so that also got me. I live in Ohio. We have the Cedar Point Amusement Park, and they always had a really great arcade. I've been playing DDR since 1.5. That's how early they had it. And so that was an incredible experience, and fell in love with the rhythm gaming and the music gaming all around. So that's what I've kind of stuck with. And traveling around, I'm lucky where I live that there are a number of arcades with like 4 hours or less. The 4 hours I'm talking about the Galloping Ghost Arcade. That's like a 4-hour drive for me. I do that on occasion, but so thankfully I'm still blessed to have locations around me where I can continue to enjoy this hobby.
All right, and that's awesome just to be able to have those experiences. What about you, Gila? When did you start going to arcades, and what were some of the earliest arcade games that you remember?
Honestly, I'm kind of like Ben since the moment I can walk and like remember. Like my family, I had a large family, so we always had like birthday parties at like Castles and Coasters, Chuck E. Cheese, the Golf Land, just those local like just pizza places. And honestly, the first arcade games I remember is the Simpsons arcade and the first TMNT arcade, which was at the Chuck E. Cheese that I grew up at. But
Nice.
oddly enough, now that I'm like talking about it, they oddly had the Bucky O'Hare arcade game, which is
Wow.
something I don't hear a lot of people talking about now. The Bucky O'Hare arcade game and the what's it called that it's like a jet ski game. It's like Wave Runner, something like that.
Wave Racer?
No, Wave
Runner
Racer.
is a game.
No, that's
Arcade.
N64.
It's like like you're like legit on like in a jet ski.
Jet
And I
Moto.
have a. I think that's a PS1 game.
No, Jet
Was it
Moto's
a Kawasaki? No, not Kawasaki. I think it was like it had like a license name attached to it. I believe.
I'm gonna look
Yeah.
this up.
Yeah, I
it's
know
like a,
exactly
like-
which one you're
it's like
talking
an
about.
arcade game.
Just can't. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like an arcade game where like you're legit like on a jet ski, and I have a
Okay,
very
that's
like
Wave
early
Runner.
memory where my dad was on it, and this was like at like a Chuck E. Cheese birthday party, and what's it called? He was like what's it called playing the game, and he took a turn too hard, and he legit like jumped off of the arcade and like hit like something nearby,
Yeah.
and I just remember my sister just looking at him, just like walked away, walked outside of that Chuck E. Cheese that day. I think that's like one of the like earliest like arcade moments I had. But other than that, like, growing up, I really didn't go to like mini arcades like in my I guess like my late childhood years. But as a teenager, when I got my driver's license, me and my friends would always just take advantage of like the 2 hour game cards at the like local arcades, like at Golfland or like Dave and Buster's or Peter Piper. We'd
Yeah.
always just spend like our Friday, Saturday nights there, just kind of just playing like there's the old arcade games they had there, the Time Crisis, whatever, DDR, what's it called the Cruising World, the initial
Cruisin'.
games that they sometimes have.
Yep.
And it really wasn't until like I got like older and like out of high school where I actually kind of like ventured out like to try and find like other arcades in my area. I live in the south or Phoenix area, and so one of my favorite is actually one of my hometown is a place called like Starfighters Arcade. It's like here in Mesa. The hometown where I grew up was that he just has like a bunch of like arcade pinball machines, like classic fighting games like Darkstalkers and Crazy Taxi. And so I usually just like a lot of my college years I spent a lot of weekends there just playing like Crazy Taxi, DDR. Just sometimes they had it there, and actually a lot of Darkstalkers too. I remember playing a lot of that. And
Yeah.
for nowadays, it's just kind of just teetering off. I want to try and get back to like going to arcades. I know there's some others in the valley. There's like the Gaming Zone, and I think what's it called Arizona's Gamer Guild. I think might have arcades at their locations. I'm not too sure about that. I got to look into that. But those are my experiences.
Yep. Oh, and yeah, like those sounds like really good arcade games and arcade like experiences you had. Space Robot Arm. What about you?
Yeah, so I feel like maybe a little bit of the odd man out here because I didn't really have much of an arcade experience growing up. I have a few like foggy memories from when I was really little. I could talk about those, but there was an arcade in the local mall that right when I got to like the age where I could really like appreciate it, like kind of spend time there on my own, is when it closed. And that that was kind of like the early 2000s, which I kind of think of as kind of like the death of the the traditional arcades.
Yeah.
Kind of how we think about them, right?
Mm.
So I didn't really have much of a firsthand experience, but I've always kind of, when I hear people talk about the arcade experience, I get this like secondhand nostalgia, and so I've like really dove into like hearing people's stories about it. Number one, but I decided, I've kind of like built up a decent sized console game collection, and at some point you're looking for like what is the next thing, what is like the next deeper hole to dive into. and that's when I started getting into arcade games. And I actually built a cabinet from scratch, with a CRT monitor, of course. And okay, Ben, you mentioned the TMNT game. One of my foggy memories is of playing. Now, I think it was Turtles in Time, but I could be wrong. But either the first one or Turtles in Time in a Burger King, like in the play place of the Burger King, and that's kind of like a memory that has always kind of stuck with me. And I don't even know if it's real. To be honest, it might not have been in a Burger King. It might not have been TMNT. But
hey, if McDonald's had the Pokemon N64 games at the play places back in the 90s, I'm pretty sure Burger King had something along those lines.
Yeah, I mean, arcade
probably
cabinets
did.
were everywhere, right? But so the cabinet that I built, I based on the Konami 4-player setup. Like, the TMNT games, The Simpsons, they all use the same kind of dimensions. And luckily, I have a friend that owns a large CNC table, so we cut out all the panels with very nice precision and got it all assembled. And that's like one of the biggest DIY projects that I've really ever done. Because I got a actual CRT monitor that came out of an old cabinet, and I had to do a tube swap on it from a consumer TV because the tube was dead in the monitor that I got. Then I had to figure out so when I initially did it, it was running Groovy MAME, which is like a fork of MAME that can send the original refresh rates to like actual CRT monitors. Since then, I've kind of swapped that out for a Mister setup. So figuring out how to get the signals off from a PC to the arcade monitor was a whole thing because they require a different voltage level. And one of the things that I've thought is super interesting about arcades, as really I'm getting to kind of like the DIY cabinet territory, but like you can go like as surface level or as deep as you want. Like you could get a 1-up cabinet and install a mod that you could probably just download, or you could like build something from scratch and there's so much documentation available and so much like aftermarket parts that you could kind of go all kinds of places with it. So yeah, that's kind of my arcade experience. It's kind of secondhand, but I've had a great time diving into it.
Oh, that's pretty good. So here's mine. So my experience, it all started when my dad took me to like a local like grocery store, and they had a TMNT arcade game, like the first one. He gave me a quarter just to distract me while he was buying some stuff. I did not know what I was doing and I just started playing video games around that time. I already had an NES with Mario and Duck Hunt, and then I wasn't sure what I was doing at the time. I was like 3 years old, and then I died, and then after that, my dad's like, time to go. And I do remember having a lot of memories going to a Nathan's Famous, because I live up in New York City, but there was a Nathan's Famous in Yonkers that had an arcade. Like they used to have an arcade, and they I remember they had a lot of like a lot of the games that people remember. Like they had like Street Fighter. Like the first time I went was when Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo was new. Like went to play Simpsons. I went to play X-Men. Later on I would play like the Marvel vs. Capcom games. I would play Tekken 3 and Tag Tournament there. Street Fighter 3, New Generation, Second Impact, Third Strike. The Mortal Kombats. There was a WWF WrestleMania, the arcade game, where it was the wrestling game that was kind of like Mortal Kombat. Time Crisis 2 and 3. I didn't really see 1 there. I did see like a couple of House of the Dead games, mainly 1 and 2 in that Nathan's Famous. But in terms of the earliest arcade games, like The Simpsons was like a huge one for me. Like I've played a ton of The Simpsons. Like it was actually that arcade game was like the only time that I was able to get my mom, my dad, and my younger brother to play with me at the same time. That was the only time like we ever had like a session where it was just a family just playing it. Like my dad was Homer, my mom was Marge, and my younger brother was Lisa, and then that was Bart. Because at the time I really loved Bart. Now I'm more gravitated towards Homer. But I love the Simpsons arcade game so much. They put the X-Men arcade game right next to it as well. Like and it was the 6-player one. They had the 2 CRT TVs in that machine. I remember like just seeing fighting game crowds all over the place. But overall, like, those were some of my earliest memories going to arcades. I'll definitely talk more about like my arcade experiences later on. But for the next question, DJ Tatsujin, I'm going to start with you on this one. Which arcade intros live rent free in your head?
X-Men versus Street Fighter.
Yes.
the handshake of legends is right there. Yep.
Yes.
But also
in the Marvel vs. Capcom collection cover, it's not just like the handshake, it's like a my man.
Yes.
Yeah.
also like the X-Men Konami, the intros and the videos for that. Killer, like I grew up with like a lot of the loud stuff. Killer Instinct.
Yes.
The Mortal Kombat ones, and like a weird one that always sticks out into my head is my local video rental place had a Neo Geo MVS, and it had an Art of Fighting 2 inside of it. Ooh. And in the attract mode, they fight in a stall, like a barn, a stall, and there's just this horse that goes crazy neighing. So you're in this quiet movie rental place, and you constantly hear the neighing of the horses and people like smacking each other. So that's just like a personal twist, like a weird one that sticks out to me.
Yep. What about you, Gila? Which arcade intros live rent free in your head?
I guess this is more so the attract mode, but again, I made a post about this like last week when I was like kind of thinking about it. It's always the Dance Dance Revolution Extreme attract mode. I honestly have the tutorial like stuck in my mind. The music they use for tutorial, then I know it's gonna end because you just hear that no. And then immediately after that, it's followed up by Speed Over Beethoven.
Yes.
Not any other song. It's always Speed Over Beethoven. And then after that, it's just Dance Dance Revolution. Like that's probably like the intro. Like I can like recite the clearest. Other one from that is like what Ben Magna would say. Whenever I went to I think it was like Castles and Coasters. The first thing I would hear is do 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 Daytona, because they had an 8 arcade setup.
Yep.
It was like right there in front of the entrance too, so that's like the first thing you would hear. Other than that, also mainly because this scared me as a kid. The Carnival arcade intro.
Oh no!
I think just the whole like cabinet and like the whole cabinet, like the game itself. Carnival was a game that always scared me as a kid because as a kid I just had a weird fear of clowns and just the whole like circus aesthetic.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I just had a fear of that, and every time I just saw like that, what's called the side of the arcade cabinet, I always just like walked away from it. Then like the few times like I was like next to it, I would always just see that gesture just looking at me. I don't know. The gesture like from the intro just like looking at me. I just never like just looking at it.
Yeah, it was evil. I've seen that arcade machine when I was a kid too. Yeah.
I feel like more people are scared of clowns than think that they're funny these days.
Mm-hmm. You could.
I feel like clowns are pretty scary.
You could thank Stephen King's It for that.
Yeah, Carnival has clowns and spiders.
Oh my god.
Well, at least it's a shooting game, so you could blow them away.
True.
It's like eat lead, Pennywise, bang.
But yeah, I do remember that game, Gila. Like, just seeing that in the arcades. I played it once. I was curious, but it was actually not bad. It's just scary.
Yeah. Honestly, I just have a personal beef with that game because I forgot what fast food place it was, but like one of the places I used to go as a kid a lot with my family was they had two arcade games, Street Fighter 3 New Generation, and then Carnival right next to it. And so me and my brothers were like big into Street Fighter at the time, so we saw like Street Fighter 3, which was a game that we never played, so we always like try to like play with each other and whatnot. I never played the game because it was right next to Carnival, and I just didn't want to be next to that game at the time.
Right.
And so I will always have a beef with the game for not letting me play Street Fighter 3 New Generation with my brothers.
Yeah, that's fair considering like what type of game Carnival is. What about you, Space Robot Arm? What arcade intros live rent free in your head? Like any attract modes that will always pop up in your mind?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's probably the first TMNT one with the theme song playing. I mean, maybe a little bit of a basic answer, but
That's fair. That's a good one.
that's probably mine.
Because it used the actual intro theme. Like, because I remember, like, usually you hear like a digitized version of the music, but in there, no, it's the real thing.
Yeah, for sure. Another one that is like now, it's kind of just in my head because these are the ones that I've played the most, and the Lost World Jurassic Park. Like I can hear the music to that in my head, rent free. That's a great game.
Yeah.
That's up there for
All right.
probably my number one light gun game.
Yeah, I haven't played that one. I played the other Jurassic Park game, like the first one in the arcade.
The one Ben was talking about.
Yes.
That one is really good too. I like that one a lot. I mean I played that one at Galloping Ghost when I visited. That was one of the couple of games that I sat down and did a full playthrough there.
Yeah.
I'm also a really big Jurassic Park fan, by the way. So there's overlap.
That's fair. What about you, Ben? Any arcade intros that live rent free in your head?
Daytona.
Yep.
But besides Daytona, I feel like Daytona USA is cheating a little. Not cheating, but it's only in there because I worked by it every weekend for over a year when I was at Dave & Buster's, and I did play the game, and I would play it. I did love playing it. It's a fantastic game, but the arcade games that are like, if I'm in on the other side of the room and I hear Marvel versus Capcom, I'm running. I'm like, get me to that cabinet, move out of the way. Mega Man, Wolverine are my mains. Sometimes I'll switch out Wolverine for Spider-Man.
Yes.
Marvel vs. Capcom 2, if I hear take you for a ride, I'm also running to that because that's my favorite fighting game of all time. I love that game.
Excellent choice.
Yeah.
I got a few for you guys. Well, obviously, like my intro for this podcast is inspired by Street Fighter Alpha 2, and that's a very good intro right there. So that lives rent free in my head. Like, another one I would say is Crazy Taxi. Like, I love Crazy Taxi.
Yeah.
Like,
I never played that there. I had it on my Dreamcast. I never played it in the arcade. I only played it on my Dreamcast.
yeah. Yeah, like, and also my mains for Marvel vs. Capcom 1, it's War Machine and Strider Hiryu. Those are my mains in that game.
Respectable.
I sometimes switch around with Spider-Man and Wolverine together. But yeah. Yeah, Crazy Taxi. I love the intro to Turtles in Time where it's Pizza Power.
Oh yeah, of course.
Like the arcade version had that, but the console version, it was just the TMNT intro from the cartoon. But because they took that song from the Coming Out of Our Shells tour, which in my opinion is probably one of the few good songs from that. But like, I guess Konami just has really good tastes back in the day. Another one would be the Simpsons intro because I played that a lot as a kid. I would say here's another one, and this is probably not going to get talked about as much. I do love the intros to like Virtua Fighter 2 and Virtua Fighter 3 because like you see the characters like just performing their moves while attacking each other. Tekken did the same thing mainly with Tekken 3 and Tag Tournament. They did that. You would see them just like performing their moves, and then like you would see them like fight and everything. But I like Tekken 3's intro where you see like a glimpse of, you see Jun Kazama, you see Kazuya Mishima, and then just go straight to Jin because like since that's their son and he was going to be the new main character. So like just seeing the difference between like Tekken's 1 and 2 and then how Tekken 3 looked was incredible. The fact that the PlayStation could run that game was wild. I'll name one more before we move to the next question. And if I had to think of any that lives rent free, because obviously the Marvel vs. Capcom games do, but here's one that lives rent free in my head that will always be in my mind forever. I absolutely love the intro for King of Fighters 98. It all began at 94, kept on rolling at 95. Pieces were in place at 96. It came to the end at 97. Now it comes, and here it go. KOF is here again. That is going to stop. It's 1998. Such a good one.
I've never heard that before, but I need to go listen to it now.
Yeah.
I'd say, yeah, I'm listening to it like after this podcast now.
Yeah, because the thing about King of Fighters 98 was it was supposed to be the dream match. It was non-canon, but just bringing characters back just to have like a dream match of everybody from like 94 to 97. It was so good. But yeah, those are some of the arcade intros that live rent free in my head. So now let's go with Gila for the next one. What are your fondest memories at the arcades? Like that you can remember, like the best moments you could think of.
I guess the best moments I can think of is it was like after me and my friends graduated. We went to our golf land and we got like between like the 6 or 7 of us, we got like 3 like 2-hour game cards. And we were kind of like the only ones in that arcade like at the time for whatever reason that weekend. Like I think there's only like 4 other people in the arcade besides us.
Yeah.
We were just there for like the whole actually pretty much for a whole night. We were just playing arcades with each other. We kept playing the what's it called, like the Mario Kart or arcade racing game with each other. They had like 3 of them at the time, and then I think we spent like a good hour and a half playing the a 4-player Initial D like arcade cabinet, just racing against each other, and then the top 2 racers or top 2 plays.
Yeah.
Our top 2 rankings would like just stay, and then we'd always like just switch out with each other, and we just spent like a good like 90 minutes just playing that. And then I think like a couple groups of us, it's like we're just doing a long DDR session, and then a couple of us just split off to play like Time Crisis 3 and 4 because they had like side by side at each other at the time. I think another one was, oh shoot, yeah, this is actually an early one. One of my as a child, my brother's friend had a birthday party at a GameWorks, and I just remember being enamored by the Star Wars pod racing game.
Oh yeah.
And I think I spent like all of my
That's a good one.
all of my tokens on that one just because this was like right after the episode like 1 came out too, and so like the game was just big. They had like 2 of them over there at the time.
Yeah.
And I just remember just waiting in line just because I just had like just so much fun just playing that game as a kid.
That's a good question. So I've never seen the arcade version of that. How close is the Dreamcast version to it?
I think like graphically it's pretty much the same, but like the control scheme of like the actual arcade machine is like it's like kind of hard to explain. Like you're like pushing and pulling the what was it feels like it looks like you're actually like what's it called piloting a
Racer?
one of the one of the
Yeah.
racers.
Yeah, it has two thrusters. You have one throttle in your left hand, one in your right hand. So to go full speed, you have both of them forward, but to turn, you need to ease off one of the engines to make the other engine go faster and turn it that direction. It's really cool. It's a really interesting concept. A lot of fun in the arcade too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds really cool.
I actually had no idea that the arcade version even exists until now. Like I thought it was just a console game.
Nope. Good.
I learned about it for the first time because they had it at Galloping Ghost, but I think it was off when I was there, so I didn't get a chance to play it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think at the time, like at that GameWorks, it was like the most popular game. Like there was an actual like line of kids that just like wanted to actually like play it.
Yep.
Other than that, I think another one was I'll get into this later on another topic, but during college, me and my friend like we just went back to our golf lane again, and then they had a game called Virtual On.
Oh yes.
Oh, I love
And-
Virtual Lawn. That is the closest
I'll-
I'll ever get to buying a mobile suit from Gundam.
And I'll get into that topic for later because I'm gonna have to like go into that like in further detail. But I just remember we just spent like the whole night just playing that Virtual On game, and for some reason that golf lane only had it for like maybe like a month or two. I don't know if they had it for a month or two, but I was just so pissed. Like whenever me and my friend wanted to go back there and play it again, it was gone.
Oh yeah, I hate when that happens. What about you, Space Robot Arm?
Let's see. So I'm gonna have to choose memories of playing arcade games at home for this one. But,
Yeah.
When I first built my cabinet, my kids were still pretty young. My oldest was I think he was 5 or 6. He's almost 10 now. But there were like a couple games that he like latched onto for some reason. One of them was the first Adventure Island or the first Wonder Boy,
Ooh.
and he called it Kid on the Island. And I just thought that was so funny. And I don't know why he like loved that game so much. I mean, it's a good game, but there were better, I think.
Yeah.
So like, anytime I see Wonder Boy, I always think of Kid on the Island.
Yeah.
The other game that he like latched onto was Alex Kidd in the Enchanted Castle, the arcade Alex Kidd. I think that's the title of it.
Oh right, that one. Yeah, I've seen it before.
Which is also kind of a meh game. I mean, Wonder Boy is better than a meh game, but I think the Alex Kidd game is kind of meh.
Yeah.
But he really loved those two games, so like they bring back fond memories of my kids being smaller than they are now. They're still pretty small, but smaller than they are now.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is like so also my kids are both into video games now, but they they're not really into retro games at all. I've tried to introduce them to some things, but outside of Mario, they're like, nah, I want to play. Well, my oldest one, he's like a Minecraft kid.
Of course.
That's what he goes to. But on rare occasions, the stars have aligned where we've gotten, my wife and my 2 older kids on the arcade cabinet together playing TMNT, and once The Simpsons. Somebody brought up The Simpsons as something that they got. Oh, that was you, Shellshock. Yeah, as something that your whole family played together, and that was true over here.
Mhm.
So it's those times when the stars aligned and I could get everybody to get on the arcade cabinet together are my fondest arcade memories.
All right. What about you, Ben?
Well, I got a few actually. I think obviously some of the ones I could remember from when I was like really really small was when we would go to Chuck E. The few rare times my parents would take us to Chuck E. Cheese because we asked them to, because Chuck E. Cheese wasn't a thing that my parents would take us on a normal basis. It was only for like birthday, like if someone in our friend group was having a birthday there, or mom and dad needed a night out, and the babysitter would take us there. But one day we were there, my brother and I, we were playing two-player on the Jurassic Park cabinet, and we could never get past the T-Rex.
Ooh.
Never in our lives we could ever get past the T-Rex. And now, granted, we were small. I was thinking like kindergarten, preschool, something around there. But I think what happened is that one of us accidentally shot the bridge, and it caused the T-Rex to fall, and we beat the T-Rex.
Ooh.
Wow.
So
I'm gonna have to try this. I'm just through it.
It was one of those things where both of like something. It was like we're just like shooting blindly, and then all of a sudden our cursor just goes down, hits the perfect pixel, and all of a sudden the T-Rex drops, and my brother and I sitting there going, Did it just fall? And then level 2 we were on. I was like, oh hey, because we never saw level 2 before. Besides that, something more recent happened actually. I was in Las Vegas for my best friend's bachelor party. And we went, and we went to the a place off the strip known as Area 15. It has like the Omega Mart. It has a bunch of other things in there, but it also has a barcade in there called Asylum. Now, during this trip, we already went to Player One Video Game Bar, which is my favorite bar in Las Vegas now. It is absolutely amazing. If you're ever in Las Vegas, definitely check it out. It's great.
I'll look into it.
Free advertising for Player One. I'm not sponsored by that, but free advertising. But
what's it called again?
Player One Video Game Bar. It's like 5 blocks off the strip or something, off the Sahara. But the cool thing about Asylum was that this bar had a bunch of video game themed drinks, and one of them was called the Metroid. I love Metroid. That is one of my favorite Nintendo franchises. So I may have had a few, and then I go over and I see they have Galaga cabinet, and Galaga being one of my favorite arcade games, I pump a token into Galaga, and I proceed to have the best game of Galaga in my entire life. I'm at stage 25. I've already set the high score 10 levels ago, and I'm still going. And I'm just, for some reason, like, I don't know what it was, but for some reason, just pounding back those Metroid drinks, which had quite a generous amount of booze in it, somehow locked me in. And I was kicking so much ass. I'm walking. My friends eventually found me because they went to go do the Omega Mart. I was like, that's a little too rich for me. I didn't have the money for it at that point, but I'll definitely spend some money up in the barcade. And I was just like, they saw me and was like, did you do that? I'm like, yeah. How? I was like, booze.
I guess booze helps people get better at games, maybe?
I am absolute trash at Donkey Kong. I am terrible. I don't know what it is about that arcade game. I am just god-awful garbage at Donkey Kong. Put a few drinks in me and sit me in front, I could actually make it past level 3.
Yeah. What about you, DJTatsujin? Your fondest memories?
Yeah, I don't know why I suddenly thought of this. I haven't thought of this in decades, but there was a short period of time where I got really into skee ball as a kid. Like, I don't know, do you remember the first thing you ever got with redemption tickets? Like, I got I got an umbrella of all things. I can't remember what design it had on it, but I'd never owned an umbrella before. I was like, oh, cool, an umbrella. So I got this umbrella with the redemption ticket. So I don't know if that's a topic point anybody else wants to answer what the first thing you ever got with redemption tickets is.
It wasn't... It wasn't the first thing, but I do know one thing. I did work my butt off to try and win. Because when we would do like Chuck E. Cheese or redemption games, we would just spend whatever we had. Even though my parents were like, "Oh, try and save them for next time," but my brother and I, we were looking at it, was like, "Well, when are we coming back?" I don't know exactly. We don't know when we're coming back, so spend them all. And then one day we were in Laughlin, Nevada, kind of like old people's Vegas. My dad is with my aunt, his sister, and my grandmother. He hands me a $20 bill, says, go to the arcade and stay there, and come back if you run out of money. So I went to the arcade. I put $20 in this, got $20 worth of quarters, and I just did this one stupid spinning coin drop machine, just so I could win the Rock'em Sock'em robots behind me. Out of $20 and 5 jackpots, I was still 1,500 tickets short.
Oh no! I'm sorry.
You know,
I was mad.
I feel that. I feel that.
I was mad. Although for my birthday that year, they bought me Rock'em Sock'em robots anyway, so it doesn't matter. But still, and apparently they bought it for $17. It was cheaper in California.
Wow. That's amazing. Wow.
I don't think I've ever went for like a big prize because I know like as a kid like I just knew I couldn't like ever get to it. So I always like try to get like an assortment of my favorite thing to get was the colored ninja guys.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I always like ask for like 2 sets of them. Then I always ask for like 5 of the army men with the parachutes. Because as a kid, I just love just throwing the army men just with the parachutes and seeing it just fall down.
Yep.
Or going to the playground and like at the top of the playground, just keep on throwing them to see like how far I could throw them, or you know how long it would take them to fall down. I think those are like the only like things I really worked up to because, like I said, as a kid, I just saw like the what's called like the big toys, the Lego sets, or the Nerf guns. Like I don't think I can get those. I don't think I can get like 10,000 tickets in today right now.
Yeah. It's gonna be hard for me to really get really good at redemption games. But anyway. You have anything else, DJTatsujin?
I could just say that, like, I obviously have a lot of experiences with individual games, but I'd say once I finally found community and like I had my driver's license and I had like free reign to drive around, just being able to visit so many locations around the Midwest. It's a very healthy arcade scene actually, and even though it started to build up, then the pandemic hit and it dipped a little bit, but it's building back up even more. And it's crazy to think how popular pinball is around here. Like at one point, you would be convinced pinball was completely dead as a new product, and it's like hotter than ever right now. It's kind of amazing, but just all those events, going to tournaments, and then even going to like anime conventions and stuff, and they would have the arcades there. But I always enjoyed all of the like post-closing activities. Sometimes they would have like lock-ins where you could pay an extra fee and just sit there all night and play the games. Lots of gameplay that way. Also competing in tournaments and all that. Lots of cool things. Lots of cool people that I got to meet during those times. So it's given me a lot of experiences that have always stuck with me.
Yeah. So, regarding my own fondest memories, there's plenty I could think of, but to narrow down the ones that stood out to me the most, pretty much my times every time I go to the Chinatown Fair in New York City, and you have a huge crowd of people playing fighting games, DDR, like there were a couple of initial D arcade machines there where you could race. They would rotate the light gun games. They would have Time Crisis 3. They would have House of Dead 3, House of Dead 4, Time Crisis 2. They would rotate every now and then, but they always had a lot of the fighting games. There were fighting games I've never heard of until I got to that arcade, like the Rumblefish. I never even knew what it was until I actually got there. But I do remember seeing Capcom versus SNK 2, Marvel versus Capcom 2. There were multiple machines. I've seen Justin Wong there once or twice. I've seen a couple other people who like either are still in the FGC or used to be a part of the FGC. But there would always be a crowd. Like, and it's like if Justin Wong's there or anyone else from the fighting game communities there, like people will just show up just to crowd around. Like it'd be really crowded. But
Shellshock,
yeah.
have you ever watched the documentary about Chinatown Fair?
I still have to watch it.
It's pretty good. I've seen it.
Yeah, because I love, like, it's still around, but it's nowhere near as good as it was back then. Like,
They talk about that in the documentary.
because like the old Chinatown Fair, like it closed in 2011. When it came back in 2012, it just wasn't really that good because it just became a Dave and Buster's light, and it just wasn't the same. But back then, I was like, because I started going there right around the time I started going to college, because around that time I was like, oh, I'm done with high school. Yeah, let's start going wherever I want to go. Without having to worry about my mom taking me whatever. I'm like, yeah, let's just go this place or that place. My brother took me to Chinatown Fair because he knew about it, because he was all in on DDR at the time. And while he was doing that, I was playing fighting games. So even if I was getting my ass kicked, I didn't care. I was still having a good time. Chinatown Fair, going to Nathan's Famous at Yonkers. There was also like going to like Coney Island, playing arcade games there. I remember back in 2001, I've seen a Sonic Championship arcade machine, which is basically Sonic the Fighters, just with a different name over here back then. And I played it and I loved it. And it wasn't until when the GameCube version came out that I just played it more. But I did see the arcade version of it again last year when I went to Long Island Retro, and I remember seeing an Amy Rose cosplayer playing as Amy, and she was kicking ass in that game. I've seen there was a Spider-Man arcade game that was 4 players. You had Spider-Man, you had the Black Cat, you had Namor the Submariner for some reason, and you had Hawkeye for some reason. Like all 4 of them were playable, like because Sega made that game. It was pretty fun. It was like half beat 'em up, half platformer. That honestly should have been in that Marvel Maximum Collection that just came out, but it wasn't. I played the Captain America and the Avengers arcade game because I remember it being in a video store with a bootlegged Mortal Kombat 1. The bootlegged Mortal Kombat 1, the sound was weird, and everything was distorted, especially like when you do the fatalities. And there was no mention of Midway, but when it's supposed to say Midway presents, they spell Midway backwards. It says Yoda. I will say this, I've never seen any bootlegged Street Fighter arcade cabinets. Like there was the infamous Rainbow Edition. I've never seen it in person, but I've heard a lot about it over the years. Like
I've always wanted to play one of those in person.
I've only ever done it through emulation, but I've never seen the machines because it was just Champion Edition bootleg. But just going to a random arcade and finding an arcade game you would never see, that you've never seen before, and you're more likely never going to see again, is always an experience. Here's one more I'll bring up. This was back in 2001. I went to Nathan's Famous, and there was this game show arcade shooter in 3D that came out in 2000 called The Grid. It was from Midway. It was their last arcade game.
Oh yeah, that was like a 4-player arcade game too, right?
Yes, it was from the, I believe it was from the Mortal Kombat team. It was like their Midway's last arcade game ever before they just went straight to consoles. And it was a game show. I don't know why that game never came out on console. I think it probably would have been on like PlayStation 2 or an Xbox or something. I would have bought that. Like, they just never ported it to console, but that game was fun. Like, very fun. Like, I've only ever seen it in the arcade once, and that's it. I've never seen it again. But, yeah. All right. So, now here's where things get really good. SpaceRobotArm, we're starting with you. Name me 5 of your favorite arcade games of all time.
Okay. I'm gonna do them in descending order, I guess, because it's easier to think about them that way. My number 1 favorite arcade game that I have played is Cadillacs and Dinosaurs.
Yes.
You guys played that?
I played that.
It's it's a Capcom beat 'em up, and it's based on a cartoon / comic book series. The cartoon is something that I watched as a kid, and I thought it was awesome as a kid, but like it very quickly like disappeared, and I had kind of vague memories of it and didn't rediscover it until I was an adult. I've gone back and watched it. It's really good. Recommend it if you like late 80s, early 90s action cartoons.
Yeah.
It's great. And the arcade game is incredible. It's like, it's got all of the elements of the Capcom beat 'em ups that were like evolving from let's see, I don't have the year. I don't know exactly the year that this one came out, but I'm going to guess
92.
93 or what is it?
92.
92. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So like, there's like that 2-year period where they were just spitting out these beat 'em ups, and it's got like guns that you could pick up and shoot, and the pixel art is gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's my number one.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, I brought up the Lost World Jurassic Park as a light gun game. There's a dinosaur theme amongst these.
Yep.
But that's actually one that I do have firsthand memories of playing at Chuck E. Cheese as a kid. Is the Lost World Jurassic Park arcade game.
Yep.
That's my favorite light gun game. I feel like it. Okay, so I mentioned I'm also a big Jurassic Park fan overall. So there's kind of like deep lore that is like implemented in that game. There's like the camouflage Carnotaurus,
Yeah.
which is something that they took from the novel that's not in any of the movies.
Oh, really?
Yes. It's cool.
Huh.
Trust me, it's very cool. Let's see, and I've got a, I went through kind of great lengths to set up being able to play that on my PC with a Wii remote.
Yeah.
So that's pretty fun. All right, let's see. I love the vibe of the Sega System 16 games. And if I had to pick one of those, probably Space Harrier is the coolest.
Yeah.
I love the aesthetic of Space Harrier. I love like the psychedelic thing that it has going on. I love the Welcome to the Fantasy Zone
Yes.
intro. The music is awesome. Yeah, Space Harrier is very high up there for me.
Yeah.
Let's see. Alien versus Predator, or Aliens versus Predator.
Oh, that
Sometimes
one.
in some releases, the aliens are plural and some they're singular. In this game, they're plural aliens.
Yep.
That's another Capcom beat 'em up, which is kind of like in the same vein as Cadillacs and Dinosaurs. It's kind of got like everything packed into it, everything that Capcom was doing in beat 'em ups, and yeah, that game and Cadillacs and Dinosaurs both like evoke what I think of primarily when I think about retro gaming as a whole, just like that aesthetic, this kind of like gritty action, pixel art, over the top stuff, sci-fi elements. Okay, well that's 3 that I've said so far, or 4. I've said 4, so I got one more. Okay, the other one that I play a lot and think is really fun is Aliens without the versus Predator.
That's the Konami game.
Konami game, yeah. That game is so cool. I love how colorful it is.
Oh yeah.
The bosses are really really wacky. Also, when I was a small child, my grandma bought me the Aliens action figures, which that game kind of has the same vibe as this action figure toy line that they released.
Yeah.
And I just wanted them as a kid because I thought they looked really cool. And then I learned that there was a movie. I was like 5, and I was like, oh, I asked my parents to watch the movie, and they're like, no, you can't watch that.
Nah.
But many
Smart
years
move.
later, I finally watched Aliens, and it's definitely one of my favorite movies of all time, and definitely informed by the early '90s portrayal of the experience.
It's just funny how when we back in the day, like there was an era where they made toys based off of R-rated films that we were not really supposed to see, and they even made cartoons based on R-rated films. Like they made a bunch of RoboCop cartoons back then.
Yeah,
Was there like a Terminator cartoon too?
I don't think there was. There was a Rambo cartoon.
there was
Yeah,
an
that's what it
Aliens. There was an Aliens cartoon that was pitched that the toy line was supposed to be based on. Like the toy line is based on a cartoon that never came out.
Yeah,
There was a Mortal Kombat cartoon.
there was.
Combat time.
I guess it's because of the fact that probably some parents were like complaining, which again that's another topic though. But yeah, but those are good games that you had like aliens and dinosaurs as a theme.
Yeah, that's pretty much the through line there. One thing that I want to point out about Aliens is, I think probably Sigourney Weaver was like, you can't put my picture on this. So, like, the main character is blonde, but it's still supposed to be Ripley.
Yeah,
And there's like a poster that's got like some random blonde chick as like dollar store Ripley. It's great.
yeah.
She might even be on like the panel art for the cabinet.
Konami used to do that a lot because they did that for Ninja Turtles. They had like someone that dressed up as April O'Neil, where you see the cartoon turtles and then you have the realistic April.
Yep.
Yeah. What about you, Ben? What are your top five games from the arcades?
I got a list, or you know I have a list. I wrote them down. I have Galaga #1, absolute classic. Every time I'm at an arcade and I see Galaga, I gotta play a round or two of Galaga. #2, Pac-Man, another all-time classic. Earlier when we were talking about intro songs that are stuck in your head rent-free, Galaga and Pac-Man have their intro songs are rent-free in my brain.
Yes.
Those games I mean, they're not just good because of how old they are or what they did. They're just good because they're fun. They're like fun games to like. I want it. Like if you die, it's like I want to give it another shot. I want to try and beat that high score. Same with Galaga. It's like I had double ships. I was this close. It's like, you know what? I know how to dodge the bullets, the lasers coming down from the top, and get the boss Galaga to come and get your extra ship. So yeah, those two are absolute classics. So I love those games.
Yep.
Can I ask a very brief tangent question? Since you mentioned Galaga and Pac-Man, have you played Shadow Labyrinth?
Not yet.
I still gotta play that.
Do you know that it's like steeped in Namco arcade lore? Both Galaga and Pac-Man. It's like this really, like this is the thing that made me interested in it. It's like, apparently Namco has this like timeline that all of their arcade games going back to Galaga fall into, and they've like taken it super seriously.
I did not know that.
Shadow Labyrinth.
I still need to watch the.
enticing.
I still need to watch the secret level episode of Pac-Man. I haven't watched it yet. I know it's been out for like a year and a half now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's also on the timeline.
I do want to watch that at some point. But yeah. Any other games, Ben?
Yep. Oh yeah. Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Mentioned that earlier.
Awesome.
This one's I'm cheating a little bit because it technically is an arcade game, but I played it mostly at home. Time Crisis 3.
Yes.
Because I never thought that I could own a Time Crisis game in my own home with the gun con. And of course, one day, I think it was a Fry's Electronics, my mom comes home with Time Crisis 2 for the PS2, but it doesn't work really well because it was a blue disc and my PS2 was an older model, so it wouldn't run those blue discs very well. It was only the DVD ROMs.
Oof.
Yep, I had that edition, and Marvel vs. Capcom was a blue disc. Space Race, Looney Tunes Space Race was a blue disc. My parents also bought Vampire Knight, that was a blue disc. Ninja Assassin was a blue disc.
Oh,
damn. They kept buying us all these games, but they were all blue discs. And it wasn't until we finally figured out how to figure out what was a blue disc, what wasn't. My parents made sure to double check. Time Crisis 3 was not a blue disc, and I got it, I want to say, on my 12th birthday. We plugged it in, and my brother and I spent hours playing that game. We loved it.
Nice.
So yeah, Time Crisis 3, and finally to round it all out, the original TMNT.
Excellent.
Nice.
All right, DJ Tatsujin, it's your turn. Your 5 favorite games.
Okay. Yeah, I'll start off with just something that's been very important to me building arcade community, Dance Dance Revolution. These days, I'm probably a little bit more into Pump It Up or Step Maniacs, but I mean, those early mixes of DDR, playing third mix, fourth mix, fifth mix,
Yes.
around that time. So, and then that was just such a showcase piece for an arcade. It gets so much attention. So anyone couldn't go near it without noticing what was going on. And then you finally get the people that like, I want to know what this is all about. So they talk to you, and then you start building those community connections there. So it was a really fun time getting into that. And I met my wife at an arcade playing DDR. So it's just it's something that's been very important to me, and a series that I've cared about a lot over the years based on the community. So I know it doesn't give a specific mix yet, but just kind of lumped together all the DDRs. And then also based on like kind of community, the first arcade game the first fighting game that I was really truly able to get into in the arcades was Street Fighter Alpha, the first one, which is that was like a pivotal game for me in the arcades because, like I said, we didn't have the fighting game scene that everybody talks about. And it felt like Street Fighter Alpha was the first fighting game that I could get in on the ground level. It hadn't been out for months, and people had experience on top of me before I could actually play it. So I was driving myself to the arcade and finally being able to experience this. And then the PlayStation and Saturn having like near arcade perfect versions of it. They weren't exactly the same, but they were pretty close. And so it was like I can take the experience home and go back and forth with my knowledge between the two versions. And it's just something that was always very it always stuck out in my mind. It's something that I liked a lot. And number 3, just like everybody else, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The game looks and plays so good. I constantly think it's a game from the 1990s. It was released in 1989. It looks so good. Like, it's unbelievable. And like putting that many characters on the screen and it runs that well. The first time I actually saw the TMNT in person, it's like, this isn't really a thing so much anymore, but you can split the video signal out of an arcade cabinet and feed it to a monitor. First time I ever saw it, there's so many people around the TMNT cabinet that you can't see the game, so they have it's streaming. The video feed is streaming above on this giant TV above it, so you can actually see and get into what's going on. It's like a spectacle, and it's just like you cannot, unless you were there in 1989, you cannot understand how pivotal this arcade game was. And I mean, it isn't like I was really into Final Fight. Final Fight was much more accessible to me. It played a little bit differently than that, but I think that was kind of what made it interesting too, because it has a little bit of a different mechanic to it. It doesn't really follow the Final Fight beat-em-up mold that people are really familiar with these days, but I mean, it was so good, and it's such a good 4-player game. I think it resonated with a lot of people too. And then 4th, I'll go with the original House of the Dead. It's probably the first non-fighting game I ever tried to 1cc. At least with the settings at my local arcade, I could get all the way to the final boss, and the final boss would always kill me and ruin my 1cc. Yep. So I got to where I could consistently 2cc the original House of the Dead, and it could have been because of the arcade settings. I don't know. If I revisit it, I am not nearly as good as I used to be at the game. Yeah. But it's just a lot of, like I said, at one point, the arcades were just filled with light guns and steering wheels. And this was just kind of like, it was so different for its time. I really gravitated toward this one, learned it. It was really cool presentation, really cool theming. It's one I enjoy a lot. And then finally, WWF WrestleMania, the arcade game. That's kind of a strange pick for a lot of people, but that's one that I've always liked it, but it really rose in favor with me over the past handful of years. And that's partially due to a streamer, LRock617, who does 1cc. He's actually just now finishing up a project where LRock has 1cc'd an arcade game, every letter of the alphabet from A to Z.
Ooh.
So that's like something he's had going on. And so just based on seeing the game on that stream and getting back into it, I've torn that game apart. I have articles on it. The Gaming Hell article on WWF WrestleMania, the arcade game, that was written by me. There are resources on my website as well. Multiple videos. Every single year, New Year's, first game I play, WWF WrestleMania, the arcade game. It is the traditional New Year's 1cc for me. I boot it up, random select the character, and roll with it and get the 1cc. So that's just it's part of the routine at this point. I can't get enough of that game.
Yep. And now Gila, your turn. Top 5.
I don't know if I can rank them, but I guess I can just say my favorite arcade game based on genre of arcade game. Like it's first of all rhythm music game is definitely DDR Extreme. That's the one I kind of spent the most time on. Like I said earlier with the intros, I can just recite when the guy's gonna go no, or know when Speed or Beethoven's gonna kick in, or whenever I hear Dance Revolution, and I always played what's it called 3, 2, 1 Stars, Speed Over Beethoven, and Love Shine. Those were my go-to
Love Shine
in the game. As for a light gun game, it had to be Time Crisis 3. That's the one I could. Me and my friends. I think we. What's it called? I think the lowest we got was 3 credits, because we always lost one to the third boss fight, the third stage, and the last stage. We always lost, Mad Dog, and there's that guy with the
Wild Fang, arm. Yeah, because Mad Dog's the one with the machine gun arm, and then Wild Fang was introduced in Time Crisis 3.
Yeah. And so I think the lowest we got was a 3cc run on that between the 2 players. And honestly, I just don't think I could find any other game that just any other new game. I just always want to step on something, just to kind of just shoot, change weapons. I don't know. Even though Time Crisis 4 is the next game, I always stick with Time Crisis 3 no matter what. It just feels better to me.
Excellent choice on that one.
Fighting game, as much as Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is probably the better game, I have to stick with Marvel vs. Capcom 1. And that's the one I played most as a kid. What's it called? Marvel vs. Capcom 1. I'm a Gambit Strider person.
Nice.
I remember as a kid, I just saw Mega Man. I was like Mega Man, I can play as Mega Man. But then as I started playing the game, where I kind of saw how cool Gambit and Strider was. And I guess I was a little bit too young to really remember the X-Men show, other than my brothers who were 3 to 6 years older than me, who were really into the show, and that's why they really loved playing the game too. But I just kind of grew up just learning how cool the X-Men characters were, and then I saw how cool Strider was. And so he's been my main even to the Marvel vs. Capcom 2 and 3. And then as for racing game, honestly, I had to go with Cruis'n World.
Yo, let's go.
Cruis'n World or Rush 2048. I think I'll go with Cruis'n World, because it's one of the only racing games where I'll instinctively just double tap the gas to do the little boost move and try to vault over cars that are coming at me. I know that was always just a favorite to me and my cousins, when we went to Chuck E. Cheese or Peter Piper Pizza as a kid.
Yep.
But I think I can say with my heart, my favorite arcade game is definitely Virtual On.
Yes.
Kind of went into it earlier. It's literally the game that will make you feel like you're in a mech. It's a twin stick. It's a twin stick arcade game. I think there's only 4 buttons on it. 2 trigger buttons and a button on top of the joysticks. But it's just it takes a little bit of kind of getting used to. But once you can get it done, learn how to play with the mechs and whatnot, it's really satisfying and fun, and especially really fun if you're playing with against a a good rival, because you really feel like you're playing an episode of Macross or Gundam.
Yeah.
And plus, I always just love the original designs of the virtual on the mechs, like Temjin. I remember as a kid, I bought a Gunpla model of Temjin because I think for the release
No
of
way.
yeah, as a kid,
Like,
I imported a Gunpla model of Temjin because I think Japan had a limited run of them whenever they released Virtual On's the Dreamcast game, the sequel, the Ontario, something like that. They re-released it like on Xbox 360, and so they did like a limited like Gunpla run.
Yeah.
Over the years, mine broke and just deteriorated, so I don't have it anymore, which is something I still regret to this day.
Yeah. I hate when that happens.
Yeah, but honestly, it's just I just think that game is just like so cool, and there's just no other arcade game like it. Like I can like kind of really compare it to.
Yeah. Because I was playing a bit of it when I was playing Yakuza Kiwami 2, and because it's in there, and it's fun. It's really fun. I love Virtual On.
But yeah, honestly, I just think like if you find that out in a wild, just drop everything you're doing and just like just play the arcade game with the two joysticks. Like it's just so much fun.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
It is.
oh, also, I guess like a most like a honorable mention I could think of is um two Konami games I don't hear many people talking about. It's Sunset Riders, the cowboy game.
Yes, I love that game.
Sunset Riders. Honestly, there's like they kind of like fall into the same category because they're kind of like just running gun games rather than like beat 'em ups.
Yeah.
But Sunset Riders and like I said earlier was Bucky O'Hare.
Yeah, Bucky O'Hare.
I don't hear anyone here talk about like Bucky O'Hare or Sunset Riders, but I just think they're a little bit underrated. I just think they're kind of cool games.
Yep.
It's like,
I honestly like Sunset Riders is probably like one of the first games where my brother trolled me because I believe in the first stage there's like a cattle like stampede or a bull stampede.
There
You're supposed to,
was.
like jump and run.
Yep.
Yeah, my brother's like, yeah, don't do anything. Okay, just like if you don't do anything, you'll be safe. And then I got run over, and then I lost a life from that.
Big mistake right there.
I do see the console versions of Sunset Riders get some play on Twitch from time to time, but I don't know
Yeah.
about the arcade version.
You can get the arcade version on Arcade Archives. I know it's on Switch. I'm not sure if they put it to PS4 or PS5. They might have. Unfortunately, no online, but it's really good still. Really good game.
yeah, I want to say that Sunset Riders was Konami's first attempt to make a Sega Genesis game, and that is a special version of the game. It does.
I had
it's-
that when I was a kid. I had that version.
Yeah, but that's also in arcades though. With Konami, there's a follow-up based on Cowboys of Moo Mesa, the
Yes.
Wild West Cowboys of Moo Mesa, and I like that one. I actually didn't have Sunset Riders in arcades when I was growing up. Like I actually came across the Cowboys first, and that game is pretty cracked out. Like I won't say like Sunset Riders is like realistic, but it's like a Wild West. Like this one just throws realism out the window, and it just does whatever it wants in the game. It's so crazy. It's a really cool game.
They could.
I actually have played the Cowboys of Moo Mesa for like a a brief amount of time, and it did seem really cool.
Konami could
It
have.
surprised me.
Yeah, Konami could have just reskinned that and then just called it Sunset Riders 2.
There is a Cowboys Moo Mesa game. What?
Yes,
Yes.
it's
Didn't
great.
realize That was a Konami.
It's great.
It's basically just it's basically just Sunset Riders, but with the Moo Mesa gang. So if you like Sunset Riders, you'll love Moo Mesa.
I'm gonna have to give that another try.
Yeah. So, regarding my top 5 of all time, holy shit! Like, there's so many games. One of my favorite arcade games, like, if I had to do them in like ascending order, number 5 for me is going to be Turtles in Time. Like, yeah, The Simpsons and X-Men are honorable mentions, but Turtles in Time to me, I felt was just phenomenal in every way. Of course, the console version was better, like on Super Nintendo, because they added stages. But in the arcade, just the 4 players, it was fun. It was fun as hell. Number 4 would be like, in terms of, if I had to pick a racing game, it's tough because I love the cruising games. I love Daytona USA. I did not really have as much nostalgia for Ridge Racer, to be honest. I enjoyed the game, but I don't have that much nostalgia like I do for cruising or for Daytona. I'm probably gonna get the edge to Daytona because I played that a lot more as a kid. 3 would be Capcom versus SNK 2. Number 2 for me would be let's see. Number 2 would be Marvel vs. Capcom 2, which is absolutely one of the best fighting games out there. And number 1, like, and normally I love the Soul Calibur series. I do prefer Soul Calibur 2 over Capcom vs. SNK 2, but only on GameCube because of Link. However, the arcade version does not have the guest characters, so while it's very good still, does not make my top 5. But number 1, if I had to think of what number 1 is going to be for like the best arcade game for me, and this is going to be one that has not gotten talked about as much here. And people are going to be like, really? You're going to choose this one? I like Strider a lot. The original Strider arcade game was so much fun. Like, I mainly put it at number 1, not because I think it's better than everything else, but I just want to give it a shout out. Like,
Strider's absolutely worthy.
Yeah. Let's see. So, and then we're gonna go to you, Ben. Asking you, how much have arcade games have meant to you?
Ooh, man. So I haven't really talked about it, but to me, video game history is insanely important. It's one of those things I just love studying. I love reading about. Video games started in the arcades. I mean, yes, video games started at MIT with Space War and everything, but it was arcades, dive bars, Pong. You had, Space Invaders. All those like super older primitive games. That's what started arcades. And to me, arcades are. It sucks that they're not what they used to be in the 90s. Like, you watch old 90s movies, you see arcades everywhere, or you look at, or you see some old commercials, and it does kind of. It hurts, but at the same time, arcades were what technology could have been. Like when the Dreamcast came, and it was proven that, hey, arcade quality is now officially in the home. It is official. Like,
yep,
it is official. So, to me, they're extremely important as just like not just as a social hub, but just really as a place where you could just go and play video games and just. I don't know, as much as I love playing video games inside my house, there are times I want to get out of the house.
Yeah. Like.
Yeah.
All right, but yeah, that's fair, 100%. What about you, DJ Tatsujin? How much has arcades meant to you?
I kind of echo that sentiment as well. It's the arcade was at one time like the future. It was the cutting edge of what was available for video gaming at the time, and it was always exciting to go into arcades and see what the newest games would be. And I just feel like there's also just a tactile sense to like there's of course the feeling of holding an NES controller or whatever in your hand, but the joystick and the buttons are classic, especially like the haps, the ball tops that I grew up with, like the Midway cabinets and everything like that. Still love that feeling. And then as you progress through there's also the you get all the motion controls, all the gimmick cabinets that were awesome throughout like the early aughts. It's just a really cool way to experience video games, but it's also just kind of the community sense that build up over time, the social aspect that was pointed out. And I think there's a lot of arcades these days, they're opening up and trying to kind of give you that atmosphere once again. You'll go in and there'll be like 80s music playing over the speakers, stuff like that. It isn't quite the old scenarios, because like I remember in Michigan, in Ann Arbor, where the University of Michigan is, there's a classic arcade called Pinball Pete's. And the first handful of times I went down, it's in a basement. It used to be, they've since relocated, but they were in a basement. So that was the dark, that was before the laws. You could still smoke down there when... Yeah, it's people smoking cigarettes, playing pool.
My asthmatic butt would have hated that place. I would have walked in, couldn't breathe. I'm out of there.
Yeah, same.
But it's a different time, but I mean, it's always kind of had that social aspect to it. So that's just, and I mean, even these days, even when they're being emulated or whatever, like the Twitch community behind, it has a strong sense of community on Twitch as well. Mm-hmm. So it's obviously something that's meant a lot to a lot of people over time.
Yeah. What about you, Gila?
I guess I can kind of like also echo and just that. I guess for me, it's just the social aspect of just arcades. It's just the physical feeling of like just playing a game with someone else like right there next to you. It's just something that's just kind of just been gone, and I kind of miss that. Like I just always what's called a fighting game culture back in the day where people would just be lining up quarters. This is kind of like as a next, just hearing like what's called like the fighting game people like stories about how they're just be like playing against people all night. Just people just lining up to play against each other, or like my times is like just going to the arcade like birthday parties, seeing a friend like at a light gun game like House of the Dead, asking if I could join them. Just grabbing a gun next to them, just shooting you just right next to them.
Mm-hmm.
Or even just kind of I just kind of miss just those old arcade just fun. Just the short bursts. Just the short bursts. Just high quality gameplay. I think it's just kind of gone in just a lot of the games nowadays. I'm just kind of just reminiscing about like a lot of them, like light gun games. I don't think there could be like anything really modernized, just like light guns. Like I'm thinking about like other like Wii games that try to like modernize like them. Like I think Dead Space was probably like the best way to modernize like light guns on the Wii.
Oh yeah, that one. I remember that.
I forgot what it was called, but I remember
Dead Space Extraction.
Yeah, Dead Space Extraction.
Yeah, they also ported that to PS3 with the Move.
Oh yeah, PS Move. Yeah.
Yeah, there was also those Resident Evil light gun games, Umbrella and Darkside Chronicles. They need to bring those back too. I'd like to play them again.
I actually just played through the Umbrella Chronicles like last week, and it was great.
Yeah, I've heard. Anything else, Gila?
I guess. Nah. I guess just like I said, just the histories of just arcade games, like kind of how they're always just the cutting edge of technology, like the point of gossiping. There's a whole like. There's always like a whole like era of just the arcade community like back then. Even now, just thinking about like one of the biggest gaming hoaxes is what's it called. What was that one gaming hoax? The government game that.
Polybius.
Yeah, Polybius. That's what it is. Polybius.
Polybius, yeah, that one.
Just hearing those arcade or just like the secrets, like, oh hey, did you see this what's called that Green Ninja in Mortal Kombat 1?
Yep, the reptile.
The secrets of the arcade, just again, it's like the time of like the playground secrets, kids would just be talking to each other. Mm-hmm. It's just a time that's kind of gone by, and just a little bit of nostalgia, and just kind of just reminiscing about everything.
Oh yeah. Let's see. What about you, SpaceRobotArm? Like, how much do arcades meant to you?
Yeah, I think we kind of have nailed it and honed in on the social aspects. I mean, again, I don't have a lot of firsthand experiences from back in the day, but in modern times, anytime there's an arcade setup, whether it's a barcade or I've been to a couple like retro gaming expos that have an arcade area,
Mm-hmm.
and that is that's always an awesome place to just hang out and talk to people and play games with each other. And yeah, I definitely really feel like I missed out on something by not being part of like the arcade community in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
But today I've talked about how I built a cabinet from scratch. Even that experience, I connected with some friends that helped me put it together, and even that kind of like tertiary aspect of arcade gaming kind of brought people closer together. And now I have this thing in my family room, and anytime someone comes over our house, it's a like way that if they care at all about games or retro games, that I will find out, because they'll start talking about it and asking me about it.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I think the community that can be fostered from arcade gaming is definitely the most important thing that arcades have done.
100%. For me, it's pretty much just what helped me become like the type of person I am, and what type of games I liked. It opened me up. It's like going into a completely different world. It's like, whether if you're just gonna go, normally you would see like a machine at like a local grocery store, like a deli, or like going to like a laundromat or pizzeria. Like pizzerias being more common, like a safe haven just to play arcade games. But going to an arcade, physical one, is just like a different world. It's like, you love it, but your parents are like, yeah, I don't really want to. Your parents really don't want to be there. They're just obligated to take you. But for me, it's like I'm glad to be there, because like me and my brother had a great time. Like my mom would just give us like $20, and then once we run out, that's it. But it's always a fun time going through different experiences with arcades. I just nothing like it, and especially with today, with how you have like these arcades that have redemption machines, it's just not the same whatsoever for me. Does not replicate the original feeling that I used to get growing up. Hence the fact that Chinatown Fair now is a far cry from what it used to be when it had some of the best arcade machines ever. And then now it's like just ticket games and all that stuff. But otherwise, that was also pretty good. Like just playing all these classic games in general. Barcades are at least keeping them alive around here. We do have a round one. We do have Dave & Buster's. Though I will say round one's better, because it actually does give like, I feel like Dave & Buster's is more for the casuals, while round one is like a mix of casual and hardcore. So there's something for everybody there. So other than that, it means a lot to me, because it's just my experiences. So community questions, and Icepick asks, have you ever legitimately one credit clear an arcade game? And if so, which one? I don't remember if I did. And if I did, actually, it might have been like it probably might have been one of the Street Fighter Alphas. It might have been Alpha 2 once, but I honestly don't remember. Ben?
Never. I got close with Marvel vs. Capcom once, but I have never been able to one clear credit. Like, because we do have like some retro arcades in my area where you pay like for an hour or for the whole day, like a flat fee, and all the games are free play. The only time I've ever been able to beat the Simpsons arcade game is when we just constantly hit the credit button and just continued on, because we would die so many times.
Yeah.
And I've never been able to one credit. Like when you guys say, it's like, oh yeah, I'm able to like 2 credit or 1 credit complete. I'm like, I can't do that. You guys are masters. I'm just there to enjoy have fun.
I can't do that. DJ?
Yes, there's a playlist on my YouTube. So it's a little bit cheated. Like I've dug into fighting games so hard over the past decade. Like a lot of them are the one-on-one fighting games. But I mean, there's some obscure things on my YouTube channel as well. Namco's Choco Vader Contactee, which is like an alien-based mini game collection, and you have to get to a special rhythm gaming stage to actually beat the game and get the full score and be able to get on the high score list. So there's stuff like that. There's the Sunsoft game Tough Turf that is like Sega's not Double Dragon. It's basically Double Dragon. It's a bit of a rip off, a clone, but it's actually really cool. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
1cc. That interesting thing about that game is you have to 1cc it. There's no buy-in continuing. You have one life. It refills your life a little bit in between stages, but you 1cc this game or nothing. Like you can't beat it without 1ccing it. So it's kind of funny. And then there's also things like Taito's Warder no Mori. I think in the US it's called Pyros. It's a little like Ghost and Goblins inspired type of game that's really cool. The shooting game Cabal, very specifically a Japanese version of Konami's X-Men. It's a little bit more fair. It's not free. It's still tough, but it's much more doable than the US version. So
Yeah.
I mean, there's like a list of things. It's not really a focus of mine, but I do it on occasion. And I think what I'm working on right now is I've really gotten into Daytona USA because there is an 8-player setup at Boss Battle Games in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
And so I'm building up to like on the 1-player mode, clearing. I'm up to the expert track and trying to beat it. I don't know if this is defaults. Like the settings are tough. Like it's really tough to get in to the finish line before the time runs out. So I'm working on that one. That's kind of my current project, I guess.
All right. Gila?
Does DDR count?
Yes, it actually. I personally think it does.
Extra stage, encore stage. If you beat an encore stage,
no.
sure, they can. There you go.
No, I think
Nah,
like
just
the only
kidding.
game I think the only game like really like actually like 1cc is Cruisin' World.
Ooh.
Because I remember as a kid, like we went to a pizza place, Bono's here in Mesa,
Yeah.
and they had that game for like the longest time. So I just kind of over time I just got like better and better at it, like learning courses. And there's this one time I actually like just one credit. It took me like 30-40 minutes, I think.
Yeah.
And then I think I was like, I remember I have a sharp memory that just kind of came up back. Is that the ending of the game? They do a weird Bill Clinton like impersonation.
Oh yeah, that was true. I remember seeing that.
Yeah, like you're because I remember on the N64 version, like there's a moon stage, and so I was excited to do that stage, but then it just ends right there as you just head to the moon, and then there's a weird Bill Clinton, what's it called, just impersonator. It's like whoa, Hillary, something like that.
What I remember was that like Midway used to always love including Bill Clinton in anything. Like they put him in NBA Jam.
Oh yeah, they did. That was a weird time.
Bill Clinton was in a lot of like weird things. Like he was in like Ready to Rumble too,
He was
along with Hillary too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Michael Jackson.
His cat had a video game.
I know he had. Wasn't he an unlockable character in like the Super Nintendo port of NBA Jam, or am I misremembering
I think
that?
so. Yeah.
I think he was. Yeah.
There's a cheat.
It had a bit of cheat. Yeah.
There's an unreleased like mascot platformer starring Bill Clinton's cat.
Socks the Cat
Yeah.
Wow.
for the Super Nintendo.
Yep.
What?
The ROM is out there.
It got canceled. But
Never,
the game might have been like almost finished, but before it got canceled. But it wasn't really that great anyway. What about you, Space?
I don't think that I've ever actually 1cc'd an arcade game. There was a time where I was practicing Cadillacs and Dinosaurs, and I think I could get to the last stage with one credit, but I never could beat the final boss. The final boss would take like several more credits.
The only
Uh,
yeah, I was gonna say the only other game I know I've 1cc'd was Marvel vs. Capcom 2, but I can't 1cc it in the actual arcade anymore. I could in home console, but the actual arcade I can't do it anymore.
Yeah, it depends. If you go to the arcades, a lot of them crank it up to max difficulty to encourage you to play other people. Like that's part of it too.
True.
Mm-hmm.
The only other thing that maybe I once CC'd, I'm not 100% sure because I forget how the game actually works, but Haunted Castle,
That game,
the Castlevania arcade game, which is widely considered one of the worst Castlevania games.
It
I have
is.
beaten that, but I don't remember if I want to say that like there is no continues in that game. Like you have to once you see it to beat it, but I'm not 100% sure.
You have to 1cc. Yeah, it's BS difficulty. Like so much bullshit.
If that's the case, then I guess I did 1cc that game because I have beaten it.
All right.
Now, is it Battletoads style bullshit or is it Dark Souls style bullshit?
Dark Souls.
So, okay.
Go ahead.
Well, I actually don't agree with the consensus opinion on Haunted Castle. I actually think it's pretty good after, banging my head against it until I could beat it.
Yeah.
So, maybe there's some Stockholm syndrome there, but I actually found it enjoyable. But I've liked almost every Castlevania that I've played. And
Yeah.
Haunted Castle's pretty neat, and there are multiple versions of that. Some versions are easier than others, and it has like a weird mechanic that you can either put one quarter in and play it and die and continue a few times, or you can preload the quarters and get a massive health bar.
Yeah.
And like play through it that way and not be able to continue. It's really bizarre, but it's kind of cool. It's honestly kind of cool.
I think I might have had the massive health bar, if I'm remembering. I played it on I definitely familiar with there being multiple versions of it because the version that I completed was on the Konami Arcade Classics collection, which I remember thinking this is so much easier than what's in like the MAME ROM set.
Oh yeah, it is. But then if you get the Castlevania Dominus collection, they have the Japanese version, which is even easier than that.
Oh.
So Kyle Gamer asks, are there any arcade games that you would have liked to see in person? Well, there was this one arcade game that I remember Angry Video Game Nerd once bringing up, Ninja Baseball Batman. I've always wanted to see an arcade machine of that. It's like a 4-player beat 'em up where you're like these baseball players. It is so balls to the wall, like bonkers wild. That's a game I want to play in person. I've never seen it in person before.
You fight a plane on a plane.
Yes, you fight a plane on a plane. That's my pick for what arcade game I would like to see in person. Ben?
Arcade game that I would like to see in person. I want to see I hope this isn't a cop-out. But ever since that I stopped going to the Chuck E. Cheese in my own hometown, I cannot for the life of me find the Jurassic Park Sega Genesis cabinet. It is, to me, it's like it's lost to time. I've only seen Lost World. I've only seen the newer ones. I have not yet found that original cabinet. And I'm kind of upset because I want to play that cabinet. I want to try that trick that I could have swore happened when my brother and I played it in like 1998 or 1997 or whatever.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like I would love to see that again. I miss it, to be honest.
Yeah, like I actually have seen a arcade machine for it was like one of those Sega Mega Plays though, like where you just try out the Genesis games, because Nintendo would do that with Play Choice, and then they made a similar one for Super Nintendo, which I first seen that in person at Long Island Retro 2 years ago. And it was so weird playing Super Mario World on that and F-Zero. All right, DJTatsujin, is there an arcade machine you've always wanted to see in person?
I'm kind of down to there's a series on the PlayStation that was released by Enix. They got absorbed by Square, so they're now Square Enix. But
Yeah.
in the US, it's called Bust a Groove, and over there it was called Bust a Move. But because of the puzzle game here, they had to change the title. But it's a
Yeah.
rhythm game, and they actually made arcade versions of it. But it's apparently super rare. Like, I love this series, and so it's just kind of like the white whale to chase that come across this arcade game in arcade at one point. But I mean, also like things that I've played that I haven't seen in eternity. There's a Namco game called Panic Park, which is a 2-player mini game collection where you have this bar and it slides, so you control everything by sliding this bar. But they meet in the middle, so you're like always fighting with the other player as they like try to shove you aside. It's really intense. And then there's the Sega game Kraken DJ, which I think is finally available in an arcade in Michigan now. So I want to travel and play that. And just recently, I was able to go to an arcade and finally play the Typing of the Dead in an arcade again. So, but like the one I haven't found yet, I just need to find that Bust a Groove cabinet.
All right. I just remembered one other one I want to bring up real quick. I have never seen an arcade machine for F-Zero AX.
Oh, okay.
Like that's the arcade counterpart to F-Zero GX for GameCube. Mm-hmm. And if you had a memory card for the GameCube, you can put into F-Zero AX. There was supposed to be one for Star Fox that Namco was going to work on, but it got canceled.
Oh yeah, for Assault, right?
Yeah, it was. They were going to call it Armada, and you could link it with Assault. So that was the plan. Like they wanted to do that, but they only did a few games for that. What about you, Gila? Is there an arcade machine you've always wanted to see, but you've never seen it in person?
I know. I'm pretty sure Kyle and I kind of might share the same sentiment because we're both Sonic fans. But there is an arcade game called Sega Sonic the Hedgehog.
The one with the trackball.
Yep, the one with the trackball. It is a Japanese only released arcade game, and if I remember correctly, there's only like 2 or 3 of them here, like in the States. Like you'll find natively outside, like, out in some arcades. I forgot which ones they are at, but I think they're more so like in the East Coast area. But it is it's a Sonic arcade game where which you like move with a trackball,
Yeah,
and then you have a jump button. The game is kind of notoriously like hard because it is like hard to kind of like just like move with the trackball. It is like famously like known because to feature some characters that was some Sonic characters that kind of been shelved for around 20 years. Mighty the Armadillo and Ray the Flying Squirrel.
yeah.
But yeah, I think that's probably just one of my one of my like bucket items is just kind of just going out and trying to find that out in the wild. Maybe we'll like go to Japan and try to like track it down over there, see if there's like a what's called like a vintage arcade over there, and try to see if I can find it there or something.
Yep. I've actually posted a link to the cutting room floor because even though it was Japan only, there was an attempt to localize the game, and you would see Dr. Robotnik from the Sonic's Saturday morning cartoon at the time, the one with the Freedom Fighters.
Yeah.
They were going to go that direction. And fun fact, the Japanese voice for Sonic in that game, because it's not the same one as the one from Adventure and Onwards, but the Japanese voice actor for Sonic is the same Japanese voice actor for Trunks in the Dragon Ball Z series.
Oh.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Also, I just remember one thing. I remember they were gonna like try to re-release the game on the Sonic Gems collection on the GameCube.
Yeah.
But they couldn't like figure out how to really like translate the tracking ball like controls to a controller.
Yeah.
So I think they axed that like at the last minute.
Yeah, I remember reading about that, and I was really like disappointed about that. But yeah, like I've always wanted to see that in person. Like it's not easy to emulate either.
No, it is not easy. It is. I think it's like one of the more like harder games because of the whole like trackball controls.
Yeah, but I've tried playing on an emulator, and it's really hard. Like if you don't have a trackball, you're pretty much shit out of luck there. Like one day I'll figure it out.
There are modern spinner controllers that people make. Does anybody make a trackball that you can just like a USB trackball you can just buy off the shelf?
I'll have to look for it.
Actually, I'm kind of curious about that too because there are a lot of like other arcade games that use like a trackball. Like I
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
there's a bunch of like golf arcade games that use it too, right?
Oh yeah, Golden Tee.
Golden Tee, the Marble Madness game. I will. My dream is obviously to make an arcade machine of my own. It's just with my room, and it's not as big as I would like it to be. I can't justify that right now, but one day, and I'll have a trackball, like four of them actually.
You probably can't do the old tech anymore when computer mouse would have the trackball, hold it upside down.
Yeah.
Roll the
I'll figure it out. I'll figure something out. All right. But yeah, like Sega Sonic, a game I've always wanted to play, Gila. Like one day.
One day I'll find it out there in the wild somewhere. I gotta try it just so I can just say I played every Sonic game.
Yeah.
And that's the one I fear that might escape me, but I hope it won't. I hope it won't.
We just gotta figure it all out and make it work. Space Robot Arm, what about you?
Yeah, so since I feel like I have to reach kind of deep to think of something since I went to Galloping Ghost, I saw kind of a lot of the the ones that I was hoping to someday see, including the Jurassic Park cabinet, Ben.
Yeah.
But
Bring it to California.
let's see. I had something in my mind for this, and now it's kind of gone. But the second answer that I had, maybe I'll remember what the first one was, but is Resident Evil Gun Survivor 2, which I think had an arcade version.
I've seen one of them. I'm not sure it was one or two, because Konami worked with Capcom to make that.
One is not an arcade game, so it had to be two.
So it had to be two.
It's based off Code Veronica.
Yeah.
I've played the PS2 version. I would say it's probably the single worst Resident Evil game.
Oof.
But Resident Evil is like one of my top favorite video game franchises ever, so that would be cool to see. There's also a Silent Hill arcade, which they have at Galloping Ghost, but it wasn't working when I was there. The Silent Hill one would be pretty interesting, I think.
I want to see
it
that.
depends because they had all sorts of troubles with it. They actually had to get a second one, and at the T20 competition that they held last year, they got the second one working, and it was in the competition. And even though this was a fresh one and working, like you constantly had to power it down and reboot. It is so temperamental, and it's kind of. It's a neat experience. It's not very Silent Hill, like it has Silent Hill monsters in it, but
it's a rail shooter with Silent Hill monsters, right?
It kind of loses the point a little bit, but it's still a cool experience.
Yeah. Let's see. The next question is from System Malfunction. There was always that one game you spent hours on and lost track of time. Which game was it? The Simpsons is definitely up there for me. Like any fighting game from Capcom or like Sega or Namco, for sure. Mortal Kombat, like any of the Mortal Kombats, and yeah, like pretty much anything that was, yeah. Because I am a huge fiend when it comes to Capcom games. Like anytime I see their name on there, I play it. No matter what type of game it is, I'll play it. Also, shout outs to Capcom Arcade Stadium 1 and 2 having like pretty much like a lot of their Golden Age games. Ben?
Oh gosh, I have to think. Because I feel like once I'm in an arcade, like just any arcade, time just speeds up. Like all of a sudden, like time is like it's like we've been here for 3 hours. I'm no, we haven't. We just got here. And then I check my watch. I check my phone. I'm like, oh, we have been here for 3 hours.
Yeah.
I would say probably the biggest time killer for me is Galaga, because I can definitely just be in front of that. Because with Donkey Kong, I would rage. Pac-Man, I would get a few rounds in and be done with it. But with Galaga, I don't know. That just it scratches the itch, and it's the same with Marvel vs. Capcom 2, where I could just be there, just trying because there were times where it would be long periods of times before I play, so I have to shake the rust off and be like, okay, now this is the run where I try to get the high score. Now this is the run where I try to get to stage 3 without losing a single one of my characters or and whatnot. So I would say Galaga and Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Those are my big ones.
All right. DJ?
Dance Dance Revolution, pretty much any rhythm game. Really into the music. I play a wide variety of them. I go to an arcade that has Chunathim, Mai Mai, Waka. They even have an Ongeki Summer. Just like all sorts of music. Like it's cool too because when Sega puts out a music game, they include all sorts of classic. Like they put Sega music in it that they own, which includes Atlas now too. And then so there's just like a lot of really cool video game music in those games, and just play them, try to master them, beat my own scores, which is possible. I have the set of arcade cards that record my profile, so it's just I think just anything a rhythm game, just get in there, and before I know it, the day's over.
Yep. Gila, what was an arcade game that you spent the most time on? Lost track of time.
I guess the arcade game that me and a friend of mine always lost track of time, and that we always had to limit ourselves like 1 hour, is Silent Scope 2. The multiplayer, like head to head, like Silent Scope 2, is something that I don't think can really be emulated elsewhere, because in the arcade cabinet or the arcade machine, like you're at least like you're actually like looking to like an actual like sniper scope and trying to like find the other or trying to find your opponent and try to shoot them. And so we could spend like hours on that. Yeah. And I remember like one time we did spend like our whole like night like playing against it with each other. And so we usually like try to say, okay, we're only gonna play this for like 1 hour, because we can easily like lose ourselves to that game, just playing against each other like the whole night.
Yeah. SpaceRobotArm, what about you?
Well, I kind of very recently had an experience of losing a lot of time to original Pac-Man, because I'm in a Discord server with a bunch of other retro streamers where we've got like a monthly challenge game. Like each month there's a different challenge and there's like a leaderboard for it. And a couple months ago it was Pac-Man. I was like, well, I've never like been serious about trying to get a high score in Pac-Man. Let me try it out. And I did get pretty sucked in. And like a few hours went by and I was like, okay, well, I guess it's bedtime now.
Yeah.
That's probably my biggest answer to that.
All right. Dari Gamer asks, do you wish the arcade scene lived in America? I mean, it's technically still living, but I wish that it was within the peak of, like, at least for me, like the late 80s to the 90s, like especially the 90s, where like I remember when Street Fighter 2 hit the arcades and everybody wanted to go to the arcades and play Street Fighter 2. Pretty much give me that vibe back. That's what I want. Ben?
Yeah. I mean, I would say the arcade scene in America has changed. There's no denying that. I would even say it's changed all over the world, but barcades are trying, and I would say they're trying they're not failing. A lot of them they're existing because of how fun it is to go to a bar, have a drink, and play, and apparently have the best game of Galaga in your entire life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that the mood has changed, and also the pandemic also made it sour even more. But I still think that there's always going to be arcades. There will always be like places like Dave & Buster's, but like to me, what a true arcade is, older games, no redemption games, pinball halls. While they are few and far between, depending on some regions of the country, though there will still be there. So I think that while the culture has changed a little bit, I think it's still really healthy and people still love going to these places.
Yep. 100%. DJ?
Yeah, same. It's still thriving, and we've kind of reached the point where it's people our age that are open. They loved arcades. They found machines, and they're opening these places, and they're emulating what they loved about the arcades in the 80s or 90s or whatever. So it's all about knowing where to look. Like we're gone from the days where you're gonna walk into a mall and find a great arcade, or you're going to walk into a movie theater and there's going to be a great arcade or anything like that. Those days are unfortunately gone. There's the route aspect of it, because that's what it was people owned a bunch of arcade machines and they went on what they called routes. They stopped by stores. Hey, can I drop an arcade machine or two here?
Yeah.
That's why the arcade machines were everywhere. But those days they're over. But it's just, if you know where to look, around me, the Midwest, it's a very healthy arcade scene. They're not everywhere. You have to drive. They're spaced out. You have to drive to get to them and everything. But if you know what you're looking for, there's still a ton of them out there. And then, I mean, in regard to arcade game development, there are still new arcade games coming out. If you're into arcade games and you don't follow the website Arcade Heroes, you need to do that, because it is the source of actively covering current arcade machines. And they just went to the amusement show in Vegas, detailing all the machines that are coming up here. It's like people have licensed old Atari games, and they're coming out with new versions of our Atari games in arcades. There are indie developers. One I played recently, it's called Death Ball. They call it Wizard Soccer, to where you control this little wizard and you can put orbs up and you try to shoot this ball into your opponent's goal and stuff like that. It's still a healthy scene, but it's not the same as it used to be.
Yep. What about you, Gila?
I kind of wish arcades kind of had like the same, I guess like the same, I guess like the same feel to them, like in the late '90s, like early 2000s, where it felt like arcades were kind of like the peak of like hardware gaming and whatnot before the PS2 and the PS2 like an Xbox came out, kind of just like came the downfall of arcades. Like whenever home gaming kind of took over arcades, but nowadays it's still going pretty well. Like I said, the community is like keeping itself very strong with a bunch of like other arcades, barcades going up, collectors like making their own businesses and showing off their collections and letting people play it. Like I said, Starfire's arcade is one I know that was recently started by like a collector of arcade machines. And then he started like his own business, and where he like just let other people play it, and then it just kind of like brought back the feel like arcades back in the '90s and '80s.
Yep.
And even barcades. Like I said, although I'm a little bit sour because after the pandemic, a lot of arcades I like going to, unfortunately had to close down because of the whole pandemic and just the business failing after that. And our only other barcades are just the ones that are just like super downtown and not really worth it going nowadays.
Yeah. The worst is when they have like barcades at like the most ritzy areas, and when you go in and the game selection, there might be a few games that would be for you, but then there are others and like, yeah, it would have been better if there would have been more games I was interested in, but I've found a barcade that's like that. Though there is a barcade that's downtown, in a very wholesome area in the city, that has pretty much a little bit of everything that you want.
Yeah, like the ritzy area or the arcades in the ritzy area here in Phoenix, they're all not that good. Everyone tells you, as someone who lives in Phoenix, everyone tells you, "Hey, let's go to Cobra Arcade. That's a pretty good barcade." Don't listen to them. Cobra Arcades, no. I used to love going to the Grid and Mesa, but that closed down. I love going there for the Guitar Hero karaoke nights on, I think it was like on Wednesday or Thursday.
Yeah. I fucking miss Laser Park, but then they closed down and it became a fucking comedy club, of all things.
Yeah. And there's like a few other arcades around here in the valley, but they're all just so spread out, and I just kind of wish that I just kind of wish that there was a little bit like more so closer together, kind of what it was back in the day.
Oh yeah. What about you, Space?
Yeah, I agree with everything that's been said so far. I guess one thing that I could add is I feel kind of hopeful about the future for something like arcades, because I feel like we're at a point in time where people have kind of gotten sick of, or have seen a lot of the bad stuff that comes with being connected digitally. And I think a lot of people in the world are yearning for like in-person community right
Yeah.
now. And so I feel pretty hopeful that, arcades and barcades could flourish even more in the near future because of that.
I agree with that 100%. So, next up is from Epic Man. What's an arcade machine you wish you have in your home? Tough question. Very tough. Because I would love to in an ideal world, if I had a lot of money and I had the space for it, I would have like pretty much like 20 or 30 games. But one game, I'm going to be cheating here for a bit, but having like a customized cabinet that could store multiple games of multiple genres. That's what I have. Ben?
I technically do have one already. My fiance at her work, they had a raffle going on, and one of the prizes was a arcade 1-up countercade, which had Miss Pac-Man, Galaga, a whole bunch of other games, and we won.
Ooh.
So we won that. That's in the house right now. So I technically have an arcade game in my house. I mean, it's not like a real arcade cabinet. If I were to have a honest to goodness real arcade cabinet, that's actually a very good question, because it's like, which one do you choose? I mean, yes, it's like, oh, go Marvel vs. Capcom, but if I were to get the true Marvel vs. Capcom 2 cabinet, that thing is ginormous. Or just go with regular MVC, which would be awesome. But then there's like, oh, but what about this game? Oh, but what about that game? So, but if I really had to say which arcade cabinet, it would probably be Marvel vs. Capcom.
All right. DJ.
The practical answer would be a Neo Geo MVS, like a 4-slot, something, just swap the games in and out of the cabinet. That just doesn't take up a lot of space, and you could just swap the games and such. But if like practicality were in question, it'd be some sort of rhythm gaming cabinet, like a Pump It Up, a Step Maniacs, a Poppin' Music, something large and obnoxious that would annoy the neighbors.
Yeah. All right. Gila?
I know I said like I love like Virtual On and Time Crisis, but like just kind of thinking about it, like they're just so big. I don't think it'd be very practical. Although I would get a standing Crazy Taxi cabinet.
Ooh, that's a good one.
As a Crazy Taxi is just a game that I'll probably just like turn on, just like every now and then, just do a run, turn it off. When I feel like I just want to play some Crazy Taxi or listen to Offspring and whatnot. I'll
Yep.
probably just like turn it on, just play for just a short burst of session.
Oh, yeah. Space.
Okay, but before I answer this, I remembered the arcade machine I would like to see in the wild answer, and that was a game called Planet Harriers, which is like a follow-up to Space Harrier, but it made in Dreamcast era, kind of. At least that's what it looks like graphically, and it's like not something that has ever been properly dumped. It's like you cannot play it on an emulator right now, and the vibe of that game looks incredible. So just wanted to quickly go back to that.
Yeah.
But, I was to answer the question at hand. I was thinking about it would have to be a machine that has like a unique input method, like the episode 1 racer cabinet that we were talking about earlier or something, because I feel like so I've got my cabinet with my Mister in it, and for anything that is like joystick and buttons, it's great, but if I want to play something like a racing game that had like a wheel, or like a flight sim game, it's not the same experience. So I think my answer is Outrun.
I love Outrun.
Like the fanciest Outrun cabinet they had would be the dream.
I love Outrun. Great game.
Yeah, it's kind of got that, like, I don't know if it's actually a System 16 game or not, but it's got that vibe, same vibe as the System 16 games.
Yep. Sona asks, what are your thoughts on Arcade 1-Up? Great concept. The execution is hit and miss depending on the game, and some of the machines are shorter than me. Like, I'm 6 foot, and if I'm taller than an arcade machine, and unless they have a seat for me, I don't know. But that's just a me problem because I'm 6 foot. Yeah, Ben.
It was a good idea. I would still say it's a decent idea, but you have to also be aware of that sometimes the quality isn't the best. Like even when, because I have a countercade now, I got lucky. I did not pay $250 for the countercade. We won it with two $15 tickets. So essentially, we only paid $30 for it,
Which is a great deal.
Yeah, and then but when they were coming up with when they were coming out with a whole bunch of ones, like when they came out with the Marvel vs. Capcom one, the TMNT one, and then you had like the Pac-Man 40th anniversary class of 1980 that had almost every Namco arcade game. It was like you guys are coming out with better and better ones because when they first started, it was only like 4 to 2, like 2 or 4 depending on the licensing. So at one point, they definitely got a little too big for their britches, I think, where they thought they just saw the line kept going up, so they had to keep going bigger and bigger and bigger.
Mm-hmm.
But as a form of actually and honestly saying, hey, I have an arcade cabinet in my house and it costs a fraction of the price than a real one,
Yeah.
I say go for it.
Okay. DJ?
Yeah, I'm mostly on the side of like I understand their place and what their intention is. I am just not in that target audience that they're going for. Since I travel to the arcades and everything, it's just like they work for some people, but like mentioning on the quality of them, like I don't know if people understand how much of a beating arcade cabinets take, like in an arcade location. Like people just beat the crap out of machines and do weird thing, like it doesn't belong to them, so they don't care. They'll bash it up, they'll put soda all over it, they'll stick gum on it, and anything like that. So it's just like it's one of those things to where like it's a nice conversation piece in a home and for a casual player, but they don't seem like they're built for like frequent gameplay. And like they had some nice concepts. My friend had the NBA Jam / NFL Blitz one that even had network play. You could take it online and play other people with the cabinets. Like there's some cool ideas in place. It's just it's not a product that just personally appeals to me.
That is 100% valid. Gila?
Yeah, I'm gonna like echo DJ's like his opinions on it. It's just not for me. And also kind of repeat something that you said, Shellshock, is that I'm also a 6 foot guy. I'm a kind of a big dude myself, and I'm looking at some of the 1-Up arcades I just see like out in the wild, and like, dude, I am bigger than these. I am taller. I'm a little bit wider. These what's called the buttons are just not big enough for me. Like I remember I tried to use the what's called the Mortal Kombat one.
Yeah.
I saw that out in the wild, and like, oh man, this is. I feel this feels so small. I feel like a giant playing this. I can't really do what I want to do on it, and like I'm just not in their target demographic. It's just not for me. But I can definitely see the appeal of the 1-Up arcades.
Yeah, I found one that was Marvel vs. Capcom 1 that also had a couple other games. Fortunately, they did have some stools where you could sit down, but it still doesn't change the problem in which if you prefer to stand while playing the arcade games, then you
need the riser.
Yes.
Yeah.
They need to make it
The
taller.
risers.
Yes.
Yeah, they sell risers, and even then with the riser, I don't think they're tall enough.
Nah.
Yeah. I guess for me, it's also like the size of the buttons too. Like since it's like technically all smaller.
Yeah.
Like the buttons and the joysticks are smaller, so it's just harder for me to actually kind of just play.
Oh yeah.
Even with the countercade, because like you guys are like a lot of us. I'm 6'2", so for me, like with the countercade, when we first started to play with it and turn it on, like where would be the best place for that? Originally, it was like, oh, we'll just plug it into the wall. We'll just put it on the table. But I'm sitting down, and I'm like too short for it. Oddly enough, where I was, because my hands were over, and the edge was like going into my wrists, and I was like, okay, that hurts. But then I found a spot. I was like, okay, this is a better spot. But even though as I'm playing with it, I could feel the joystick red knob start to move because it's just screwed on there. And a lot of times while I'm playing with it, I'm like, with Miss Pac-Man, you're going up, down, left, right, and all that stuff, and I could like feel it unscrew in my own hand. So in between levels, I'm constantly trying to tighten it, turn it to the right to make sure it doesn't pop off while I'm playing.
Yeah. Space.
Yeah, I mean it's like similar to you guys. They're not for me. I mean I don't think we would be gathered here having this conversation if we were the target audience for Arcade 1-Up. But that said, I do feel like it's an important part of the retro gaming market. Like, for the people that aren't, deeply engrossed in retro gaming and arcade gaming, going into like a big box store and seeing that kind of thing that you could just buy and take home and like remember playing these games 20 years ago, 20, 30 years ago. I think that is powerful, and that definitely has a place. And honestly, I think it helps retro gaming as a whole to have something like that. So,
yeah.
I'm definitely not the person that's going to go out and buy a Arcade 1-Up, but I'm glad that they exist.
Absolutely.
I would like when Arcade 1-Up first came out. I'll say that I was, because I was born in 1990. I'm a millennial, and when Arcade 1-Up was making the scene, it was definitely during a time in my life where it was like the millennial depression was up here, man. It was like, I'm never going to own a house. I was at a job that I felt like I was a dead end job. It wasn't. Everyone was telling me, "Oh, but it's a good job. It's a good job. You can make a real good career." I hated going to work every day. Like, everything about it was just terrible. And then all of a sudden, when I was getting into retro gaming, and I couldn't go to arcades all the time, so I was like, man. And then I see the Arcade 1-Up. I'm like, I can make the arcade at home. But of course, where I was living, I had roommates and their stuff, and it wasn't just me or my fiance. So it's like, oh, space. That is a problem. As cool as they are, if we did not have other people living with us in the homes that we lived in, I probably would have bought one. But right now, I'm perfectly happy with the kind of arcade that we have, because, I mean, we do bust it out when friends and family come over, because it is a really cool thing that we had a family over for Christmas, and of course my future brother-in-law and even my father-in-law, they were playing Galaga, and both their wives were like, "We gotta go." I'm like, "One more level, honey, please."
It happens.
Yeah, I didn't think about it till just now, but I think what they're moving toward, they have like the miniature replicas, and I actually had this on my shelf. There's a DDR like mini replica.
I love those. I love those. I love those
that.
little tiny ones. I'll have
Yeah.
one. I'll totally get one and put them on my desk. Those are adorable.
Yeah.
But,
I didn't know they made those.
Yeah,
they're kind of neat.
they're kind of new too. I've seen.
I was gonna ask what you guys think of like the Taito Egret 2 mini and the Sega.
Oh, yeah.
Astro
I've
City
seen.
minis.
I haven't.
Those are really cool products.
I haven't seen those, but I've seen some similar ones. I've seen like a Sega one, like there was like those Sega Blast City arcade machines.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen one of those. I want to get one. Yeah, that one.
There you go. Yep.
Astro City mini.
Oh yeah.
The Astro City. I've played those arcade machines, like sitting down, playing some fighting games on that. It's the best.
I love the Astro City arcade cabinets. I love them so much.
And this thing like has HDMI out, right? So you could like play it as a console. I think this is also like a really cool product that is like kind of a similar vein to the Arcade 1-Up, but a little bit different.
You know what kind of reminds me of a little bit?
What?
I only know this because of like old documentaries and seeing them at conventions and trade shows, but those old Coleco LCD at-home cabinets.
Yep.
Oh, those. I've seen those.
Those.
My friend
The
had the
Arcade
Galaga one.
1-Up before Arcade 1-Up.
Way before Arcade 1-Up. Let's see. What are your thoughts on Redemption arcade games taking over regular video arcades in the later half of the 90s and in the 2000s? That's from Super Justin Bros. I mean, they're there. They exist. Cool for people who like them. I've dabbled on them every now and then, but I prefer actual arcade games. Ben?
Yeah, I have to be in a mindset because we do have a round one close to our house, and it's 90% redemption games like claw games. But because like my fiance and I, we've been in Japan, and now we realize that round one is the closest thing we'll get to a Japanese style arcade, like the Taito game stations or the Jigos that you find everywhere in Japan. So for us, it's yeah, they're there because that's what Chuck E. Cheese was too. Chuck E. Cheese had like it's like, what do you need? You need tickets. You gotta get those tickets, man. I mean, granted, they also had the really fun like cabinets that were just there just to have fun, like Jurassic Park, Simpsons, TMNT. We constantly talked about the racing games, of course, but the redemption tickets. That's how those places make a lot of their revenue, which is like try to play again. You were this close to the jackpot, you get more tickets. More tickets mean the better prizes, and it's a whole money thing. And I would say that it wasn't the beginning of the end, but it was definitely a shift in how arcades used to be from just going straight playing video games, because at that time you were getting almost quality arcade games in your own home as compared to the arcades.
Yeah.
So it's a bummer, but they're there, and it's not I don't hate them. I want to say I don't hate those machines. For my birthday last year, we went to round one, and I pumped like I don't know how much money into a Godzilla coin op, just trying to get as many tickets and cars as I could.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that new Godzilla, like that Godzilla like ball thing.
Yep.
I've seen that too. It's actually pretty interesting. DJ.
Yeah, I'm not so into redemption games, but it is what it is. Like they're just profitable. It's just business for the arcade. Well, go ahead.
Kid casinos. It's legal kid gambling. That's what it is.
Yeah.
But it's just like for me, if I go in, like I play music games, like I pop in $1 on something, I'm playing a music game. I'm playing that for like 10, 15 minutes, like on $1. Like a different machine is probably making $5 in the time that I'm spending that $1. It's just, it doesn't matter like how I feel about it. It's just, that's the business. I think they have to make money. And it's just it is what it is. And like I kind of like the old school. Like I like skee ball. Skee ball gives you tickets. Like the basketball hoop shoot that gives you. I enjoy that. Like I'm not a hater. It's just I have to be in a very certain mood to want to play a game like that. And it's just if they could go back to the arcades of the 90s and there's just a bunch of video games in there, that'd be cool. But I think the main market where profit is the driving factor, you're just not going to see that anymore. You have to go to private arcades for like the old 80s 90s feel, which those do exist, but that's where the business model is. That's just plain and simple.
Yeah Although I will say, like, a good like session of air hockey is a guilty pleasure for me.
Yeah, and I do have to add, like, even with Dave and Buster's, like, even the current games that are still video games, they've like turned into more of experiences, like the kaiju battle, like the Godzilla kaiju VR wars, stuff like that. You just pay, like, you can't die in them or anything, but you just get like a cool 5-minute experience. That's kind of, even now, that's, if it's still a video game, that's just kind of where it's kind of gravitated toward.
Yeah. Gila.
Honestly, I like it just kind of made me a little bit depressed just seeing a little bit like where the redemption games kind of went, because a lot of them nowadays are based off of old like iOS games, like what's it called, like the jumping cut the rope, drophy, what's it called, cross the roads. Yeah, just those old like just iOS games. Like it's like, man, like is this really what kind of arcades like just kind of like are like these redemption games are kind of going towards? Just old iOS games.
Yeah,
just games I still do have on my old iPod Touch.
There was an Injustice arcade game and it run like ass.
Oh no, I hate seeing that game because like there's only like what, 2 buttons. There's only 2 buttons on the
thinking
thing.
it was gonna be a fighting game.
It's like there's like a mobile game and they ported it to arcade.
Yeah.
The only fun one was Fruit Ninja. I'll stand by it. The only fun one was
Okay,
Fruit
okay.
Ninja.
Yeah, okay.
Fruit
Fruit
Ninja's
Ninja is probably like the best one.
There was a
I
Flappy
think
Bird.
Oh yeah, the Flappy Bird one. Yeah. There's. I think the only one I really like kind of got into was the Kung Fu Panda one, where you like
Oh,
supposed to
yeah.
hit the sides of it. And I only like was into that because I constantly was able to get the bonus 1,000 tickets at the end.
There was a.
So whenever I
Go ahead.
that was like whenever me and my friends like, yo, it was like, all right, we need to get the we need to get the these plushies over here. Like, all right, hold on. How much tickets we got? How much tokens we got? Okay, I can get like 1,000 tokens. Let me just do this real quick.
Yeah. It happens. I've seen there was an arcade in there was actually an arcade in there was a mall that I've gone to, the American Dream Mall in New Jersey. It's a Hasbro themed arcade. They have a bunch of Hasbro stuff, but they also have like the stuff you would normally see at Dave and Buster's in round one, like the Mario Kart arcade, the Cruisin' Blast, or like those redemption games that we're just talking about right now. They have all that stuff mixed in with Hasbro arcade games themed based on their board games or toys. And they even have like a laser tag based on G.I. Joe. It's actually pretty cool. I've actually done that for my birthday last year with my friends. It was fun. Space.
I don't think I've got too much more to add. I mean, it's not what I go to an arcade for. Does kind of suck that it's gambling for kids. I feel like there's kind of a negative aspect to it there. But,
Yeah.
I think we've kind of covered it.
All right.
Can I add one thing?
Yeah.
I do want to at least try the Castlevania like pachinko arcade thing. Like some round ones have. I just want to go to like try it because
My round one has it. It was right next to Godzilla.
Lucky.
The round one I went to has it. Like there was also like all those like coin pusher games, which I have that on my brain because I've been playing this game called Recoin on Steam with the coin pushers. So you had like those coin towers and everything. I've seen that because I was hanging out with my friends and like just seeing my friends just spending money on those coin pusher games. I'm like, I kind of wanted to do that. I just don't want to spend money on it, but I get it. Like it's addicting.
I just mainly want to do it because I saw like someone streaming where he was like at a round one arcade and he's like, I'll do the Castlevania one as a joke. He was there for like 4 hours of the stream just because he kept getting extra balls and the arcade was like running out of balls, so it had to keep like refilling. And so he was there for 4 hours. Like, I just want to get out of here, man. I just want to get out of here. But again, the machine's not going to give me my tickets unless I'm like actually done.
Yes. We have
And just this is real quick. I just thought of this story too. That on an old website I used to run, I made a joke one time that I was good friends with the arcade that I was at, and they gave me a bunch of like a spool of the tickets, and I took photos that made it look like the DDR machine was dispensing tickets. And so I had this running gag that I was like, I have this photo of me and I'm like holding the stack of tickets because I was playing DDR. And even though I said it was a joke, I was getting nonstop messages about how I got the DDR machine to dispense tickets.
That is awesome. We have 4 more questions, and the next one's from Nova, the artist. Rarest arcade game you've played? Capcom had this one arcade game. They were trying to copy what Neo Geo was doing. They had a concept where they had 3 games in one. It's called Three Wonders. So the first game in that collection is Midnight Wanderers, which was like an action adventure game. And the second one was a sequel to it called Chariot, which is more of like a shmup. And then the third one is completely unrelated called Don't Pull. It's kind of like a puzzle, one of those puzzle games in a sense where it's like this one NES game called The Adventures of Lolo. It's basically that, where you push the blocks and hit any of the enemies that are coming onto the screen. You can play with another person. They're all fun games, and the thing is that the main character from Midnight Wanderers and Chariot is one of the assists in Marvel vs. Capcom 1, Lou, with the gun with the big head. That's the game that he came from. That's the rarest arcade game I've seen. Three Wonders. It's in Capcom Arcade Second Stadium. So if people want to know how to play that, that's where you can play it. Yep. Ben.
I'm willing to bet the rarest arcade game I've ever played was Typing of the Dead in Japanese.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was. It had the Japanese keyboard. I mean, there were English characters on it as well. This was at Anime Impulse, which was being held in Pasadena in January of 2020. So right before the pandemic started ramping up, and I was there and I saw Typing of the Dead. I knew about Typing of the Dead, and I just gave it a shot. But of course, my Japanese is not very good, and I was literally just smashing the keyboard trying to get through, just so I could say I could play it. Because it's one of those things, like, you know House of the Dead, but there's like Typing of the Dead. I was like, if this came to America proper, like if I was able to get my parents were to buy me the Dreamcast, like, keyboard and Typing of the Dead, I probably would be like a world-class typist right now or something.
Oh, yeah. DJ?
This is the thing. If you've ever been to Galloping Ghost Arcade, this is cheating. They have so many prototypes, unreleased games, just rare games. There's the meme where Doc's on his stream. He calls all the games outrageously rare. There's those, but in the back he has a Sega R360. Which is a sphere you crawl into, and you play Sega's G-Lock. And as you're controlling your plane, it's like a full rotation sphere that you're inside. And it has to run off a special generator. You can't just go there and play it. And so it's kind of broken out for special events and such. But outside of Galloping Ghost Arcade, I've played the special version of House of the Dead 4, which is a motion cabinet that you get into. It's two screens, front and back. So, like, if zombies appear behind you, the seats swivel, and you're facing the back screen, and you have to go back and forth and shooting the zombies. Only saw that at a GameWorks in Illinois. A lot of maintenance involved with that. And similar to Typing of the Dead, in 2004 in California, went to Arcade Infinity next to Typing of the Dead. Sega did a Lupin the Third rail shooting game, and they turned that into a typing game as well. So that's the only one and only place I've ever seen that cabinet. Hope to see it again. And then also harking back to Pinball Pete's, the B-Money games, they have like the Instrument Mania. There was this game that appeared one day. It's called Gun Mania, and it's before like airsoft guns became popular in the US. It was a popular thing in Japan, and it was an airsoft gun game. And it was there. It took such a beating because it actually shot airsoft pellets, hit a projection screen, and that's how it sensed where you shot. And this was like a maintenance nightmare, I guess. It was there for like a month. Before it stopped working, and it just disappeared, and I never saw the game again. Thought I made it up, but I saw somebody on social media about a year ago finally picked one up, and I saw it like, I didn't make this up. This game does exist. So
Do you know why they made that instead of a light gun game?
Probably because airsoft guns were becoming popular. Taito actually released one recently. I think it's called On Point. It's actually really cool. The airsoft gun shooting feels really good. And, like, light gun games are cool, but just the tactile feeling, the recoil, and the airsoft pellet coming out, like, you can't match. It feels so good.
Mm-hmm. I just remembered one real quick. There was this Konami arcade machine called Fighting Mania.
Yep.
And it was based off of the Fist of the North Star anime with a very, very shitty English dub.
An English dub, yep.
And I played it, and you had to punch like each time. It was fun.
Yep.
Gila, what about you? What is the rarest game you've ever played in the arcade?
I guess the only like rarest game I could like think about right now is like what I said earlier, the Star Wars Pod Racing.
Yes.
Since a couple or someone here said that they didn't realize that there was an arcade like version of that game.
Yeah.
But now that I'm looking at the R360, man, I actually want to get in that thing now.
Oh yeah.
It's fun. It's really fun.
It's really disorienting. Like, it's actually like you have a concept of motion games in the like, this is full blown mode, like rotating your plane. It rotates. Like I played it twice in a short time span, and I spent the rest of the day. It felt like kind of how you feel if you go swimming underwater for a long time. Like my head was just kind of rattled a little bit after playing it twice.
Oh yeah. Space?
So I probably played something crazy rare without knowing about it at Galloping Ghost, because I played some weird stuff there that I just don't know much about for sure. But the thing that I played that I did know what it was that I was the most impressed with was just like a Darius one with the 3 CRT monitors. I thought that was pretty cool. That's definitely the only place I'd ever seen it.
Yeah.
So huge and unwieldy.
All right. Yeah, those are some pretty rare games. Next one is from Vedran. Favorite Street Fighter cabinet. Damn. Third Strike, easily, like hands down. Ben.
OG Street Fighter 2.
DJ.
Alpha 1, and then kind of cheating, but I have quite an affinity for Pocket Fighter.
Oh, I love Pocket Fighter. That's a good one. Gila.
As I do, Puzzle Fighters Turbo.
I've seen that one too. Like Chinatown Fair, I remember playing that. And then there was always this one person that comes in and he already knows the strats and he destroys me. Still a good game. Fun.
Is it either that or what's it called Capcom versus SNK one? That one, I guess. What's it called? I just love Capcom versus SNK one.
Same.
Although two is definitely better.
Yep.
One just has better presentation. I'll say that.
Agreed, it does. Space.
So for the physical cabinet, it's the OG Street Fighter 2 with like the yellow text and kind of like the Memphis design. As far as the best game, for me, it's Super Street Fighter 2.
Excellent. Shad JV asks, do you play DDR, and if so, do you have a favorite song in game? I've dabbled in DDR, but it's not really for me. But in terms of the music, I do listen to the music from that. I will say that in terms of what's one of my favorite songs from DDR, like a lot of people love Butterfly, but for me, I'm gonna say that I really love Shine so much. I just love going to the arcade, and then like when I see people playing DDR, I always see Love Shine. It was so good. Ben.
I haven't played DDR in nigh on 25 years. It has been a long time. I don't even remember what was my favorite song the first time I played DDR, but I do remember hearing "I Like to Move It" on that was the first time I heard it was on DDR.
Yeah. DJ.
My favorite time span would be around the area of 4th and 5th mix. On 4th mix, when I would travel and play it, my 3-song rotation favorite was probably Bumblebee, Dream a Dream, and Before You.
Yep.
But I do remember the first time I ever played was at that Cedar Point on the early mix, and I just cycled through and found My Fire by Extreme. So that's like kind of the first DDR song I ever played, so that one sticks with me.
And real quick, I forgot to mention the game for me, DDR Extreme. Gila.
It really depends on the game. And like if it's DDR Extreme, I have my 3 songs good to go. I start with 3, 2, 1 Stars. It's pretty soft one. Then I go to Speed Over Beethoven, and then I go to Love Shine. If it's Supernova and over, I go The Least 100 Seconds. Also Love Shine, and I go Rainbow. Those are my 3 songs for like Supernova and over, if I can find them in time, because nowadays current DDR has like over. They have a lot of songs, and it's hard for me to try and find them.
Oh yeah. Space.
I have literally never stepped on a DDR machine. But I do have this memory that I think is a real memory. Maybe you guys could tell me. In high school, of watching a friend playing DDR, and there was like a Vivaldi's Four Seasons song.
Yeah.
Is that actually in a DDR game?
Yeah, V.
I'm
Yep.
gonna say that's my favorite
Yeah.
song.
Also, shout outs to Captain Jack. May he rest in peace. 20 years gone and still miss him.
That's right.
Yep. And the last question is from Dragonflame323. Have you ever tried to go for a high score on any arcade cabinet and were you successful? I keep coming very close multiple times in so many different games. I would say that, and even if I were to get a high score, it never lasts long because there's always somebody out there that's going to get the high score immediately after you do and will overtake you. That being said, the closest one for me, in terms of taking the top spot and actually maintaining it for like at least the next time that I showed up to that arcade, I would probably say it was The Simpsons. And then I remember there was one time like I went a few months later and my high score for the highest score was still there. But then the next time after that, when I went back, either someone beat me or they reset the scores. Either way, it was gone. Ben?
Mentioned earlier, pounded back some Metroids. Got Buzz. Best Galaga game of my life.
Yep.
Don't know if it's still there. Probably not. They probably reset the scores. But either way, I said it, and that was my win for the day.
DJ?
Yeah, I have in the past. It's not really something I usually shoot more for the 1cc as opposed to high scoring because I grew up more on like fighting games and a little bit beyond that, where score was a little bit less of a thing in games. They were more about like faster times or just like the game was the game, and there wasn't a score involved. But yeah, when you go to Galloping Ghost Arcade, the arcade owns a scoring house. It's called Aurcade, Aurcade, and so they have this is basically their version of Twin Galaxies. That way they can handle the scoring themselves because they have so many machines at their arcade. And so I've dabbled in that. Like yeah, I've had high scores on there, but since I can only go so often, like I'm not there to defend my scores. Usually somebody comes through and eventually beats them, but yeah, it's I do it from time to time, but it hasn't been much of a focus for me in the past couple of years.
Yeah. Gila?
Oh yeah. Just real quick. I have photographic evidence of me when I playing in Vegas.
Nice.
Sorry,
Nice.
just had to make sure if I still had it, but yeah, I still do.
Good
Or at
shit,
least I had the
dude.
photo.
Good shit. All right, Gila?
I think the only time I really like try to go out to high score is whenever this what's it called, this Bass Pro Shop opened up in my city. They had like a large version, like a buck hunter or like a Cabela's game. Mm-hmm. It was like a deer hunting game, and the only reason why I went after the high score of that just because it was on the big screen and they like kind of like filtered through the record names, and so I just did it just so I can like put ass as the name. It just so it would just like say like today's highest ranking is ass. And that was the only time I went after like out of my way to try to get a high score on an arcade game. Just because I just want to see the just ass just on a large screen. This is, I
Yeah.
think this is like when I was like a teenager at the time too.
Yeah, it's really immature, but it's funny mentioning Star Wars pod racing because there's a cabinet near here, and if you get a best time on there, there's this weird name entry screen where Jar Jar Binks like eats these bugs and spits out a letter. And so if you put something like ass in there, like he like spits it out, and then he turns to the camera and has like this big goofy grin. It's just, like the funniest thing. It's so immature, but it's so funny.
Mm-hmm. Space?
never like on a specific machine where I was gonna like come back and see if my high score was still there. But I mentioned I spent some time trying to see how high of a score I could get in Pac-Man pretty recently, and that's kind of like the only time I've really gone for score. I think I'm kind of more like DJ, where the games that I grew up on, was just basically the game was the game. Kind of score had kind of fallen out of favor by that time.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. All right. And with that, that's the end of the show. That's the end of the podcast. So that's all the questions for the community questions. And it was a lot of fun talking about arcade games with you guys. So Ben, DJ, Gila, Space, thank you guys for being a part of this.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Yeah.
Thanks for letting me join.
No problem. Now, before I sign off, where can we find you, Ben?
Well, you can find me all over the internet at BenMagnet27. I'm on Blue Sky. I am on Threads. I am on Instagram. You can see me being a part of the cast of D and Dark. As of right now, we're releasing the end of my first ever DM'd campaign, D and Dark Souls, where I use the Dark Souls tabletop RPG format. So so we have a few episodes coming out. The finale episode's coming up very soon. And yeah, and hopefully sooner rather than later, I'll be producing and putting up more episodes of my video game podcast, Basement Arcade Pause Menu. So just keep an eye on my socials for when I finally get to do that.
Yep. I may actually have to hit you up after we're done with this podcast on something. But in the meantime, DJ, where can we find you?
Yeah, DJTatsujin, not only on Twitch, but also on Blue Sky. And if you follow through to those, my website is called Gamubaka. And so it's crazy about games. And so the YouTube channel is also accordingly Gamubaka. But like I said, there are playlists specifically for arcade games on my YouTube channel. And if you tune in on Twitch, I do occasionally stream directly from arcades if it's possible. So there's just all sorts of retro game stuff. But yeah, if you're more interested in the arcade games, that is kind of split up into specific sections on my outlets.
Yep. What about you, Gila? Where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitch, Blue Sky, TikTok, and on YouTube under TheGilaMonstar, where I mainly just do streaming. I plan to upload more TikToks in the future as I'm just trying to get some clips together, and actually try to form some YouTube videos based on a bunch of ventures of me and my friends, the Spooky Doo Squad.
Yep.
So you can find me there on all those platforms.
All right. And SpaceRobotArm, where can we find you?
Yeah, SpaceRobotArm on Twitch, and I'm also on Blue Sky. Those are pretty much where I'm at right now for as far as social media goes. But I'm live streaming retro stuff in some form or another every Thursday night.
Yep. And you can find me pretty much almost anywhere, really. ShellshockPrime. I variety streams from Monday through Sunday, except I normally don't stream Saturdays. This is the rare occasion where I do, but most days in the week, I start around 7 or 8 p.m. Eastern until midnight. But the next episode is going to be about the Nintendo 3DS. Which I'm looking forward to talking about that one. That episode was supposed to happen last week, but it got delayed. So that's the next one. But yeah, Nintendo 3DS, we'll talk about the glasses free 3D, Street Pass, and a whole lot more. So that'll be next Sunday, April 19th at 8 p.m. Eastern. That's when we're gonna do the next episode. Alrighty then. Wait, I think I kind of messed up with the rate call. Let me go ahead and fix that real quick. Oops. Let me just do that. There we go. All right. So I'll see everybody. I'll see everyone next time for the next sharing with Shellshock. So once again, Ben, DJ, Gila, Space, thank you guys for being a part of this. I really appreciate you guys joining for this episode. So, as always, make sure to take care of yourselves. Be awesome. Stay awesome. Tell your loved ones you love them. Check out them as always. Fight for everlasting peace. And I'll see you guys next time. And remember, be kind. Rewind. Good night, everybody.
Shh.